Yes, 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 yes. No, I want to see some pretty faces. Let me see some of these pretty faces here today. Hey, everybody, how you guys doing? Let me see their faces. You guys good? Liddy, can you hear me? Julianne, can you hear me? I love seeing faces. Turn your cameras on for me. Turn your cameras on. Yeah, James Bullis is in the house. That guy always brings the energy. Oh, Margarita, I like it. You just chilling. I got you. Let me see faces. Come on. This is the first time we're doing this training. This training at this time. There has never been a time like this in human history. Stages are back. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of virtual and digital stages. But I'm also been helping a lot of our customers, and I can see both full me screen on both of these. I want to be able to see there. There we go. There was Socrates with that big old tat. So excited to have you guys. So excited to have you guys. You're in for a treat today. I want to ask you a quick question. Where are you chiming in from? Don't type yet. And I want to know where your business is at today. Are you just getting started? Are you established and need some momentum? Or are you doing really well and trying to scale? You're getting started, or you're an established business with momentum, or you're needing to scale. I want to know where you're from. Atlanta, launched and want to scale. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ooh, Danielle Marr, great to see you. Established, needing momentum. Aussie, Las Vegas, Quebec, Hawaii, South Africa, North Carolina, Boston, Massachusetts, Montana. Listen, one of the things that I am so proud of in my world is I've been able to work with the biggest names in the world the last 4 years. I've helped them generate close to $1 billion in their businesses through this methodology that we're going to teach you. But today it's going to be taught in a way that's in a post-COVID world. So if you've seen something pre-COVID, this is a post-COVID world. And I am proud to say that we are approaching 100,000 customers from across the world that we have been able to help on a grand scale. Get their messages out to the world on a bigger scale. Good to see Renee Jones. Good to see so many people here. Hey, if you're actually a customer of AYR, put AYR customer. I want to know if you're one of the 80, 70, 80,000. And we're excited because this next year, in the next year, we believe we will cross the 100,000 mark. But this matters to me. Do you realize the thing that will change our world is stories? There is a passage in Revelation that says we will overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. I'm not trying to get spiritual on you here today, but by the word of our testimony. That is also by the power of our story. Our story and our testimony is something that helps other people overcome in their businesses, in their lives, in their finances, in their wealth, in their relationships, in everything that we do. Our story helps people overcome. Your story helps people overcome. And here's what I want to tell you. I've got 2 major announcements that I'm going to make at the end today. And they're exciting announcements. And here is my belief. This shirt represents everything that I'm about. Yeah, I've gotten to help the biggest names in the world get their messages out on a bigger scale, but I've been able to help tens of thousands of customers get their messages out that you wouldn't know their name, but all you would need to know is that they're making a difference in the world. And I believe this. Today's training is going to be game-changing and impactful for you, no matter whether you're starting a business, you need momentum in your business, or you're trying to scale your business. That's what I've done. That's what our methodology has done. And this is something I believe to be true. Do you know what's missing on TV right now? Great to see Cody. Great to see Debbie, Suzanne, Mrs. Atkinson, is it Gua, Jackie, Mindy? How many of you have watched American Idol before? How many of you watched American Idol? How many of you have watched one of the dancing shows? Dancing with the Stars, Dancing with Greg Moyer, whatever you want to call it. Greg's one of our folks here today. You've watched something on TV. Now, here's what I think. I watch dancing and I'm impressed. I watch it and I'm impressed. I'm like, wow, those folks are awesome. It doesn't inspire me to want to go dance. I watch American Idol and it's like, oh, that song was beautiful. But it doesn't inspire me to want to go take action in my own life. Like, I'm not a good singer, period. I'm not a good dancer, period. Some of you might be good singers. Some of you might be good dancers, but I guarantee you, most of you aren't both of those. But let me tell you what you do have, that every single one of you do have. You have a story that needs to be told on a bigger scale. And in 2022, at the time in our world when there's more divisiveness, more anger, more pain, more frustration, there's never been a time like this to get your story out on a bigger scale. And you might say, Pete, that that sounds good. Like what? Okay. Like that sounds fluffy. No, it doesn't sound fluffy. Next Thursday and Friday, I'm doing something with Grant Cardone to get his story out on a bigger scale with some of the biggest people in the world, because he even wants to get his story out. I was just with Mary Morrissey today, or her crew today. They want to get their story out on a bigger scale. And I believe it's time for you to get your story out on a bigger scale. And here's what I know to be true. If there were ever a competition in this world where there was something around the speaker, something around the storyteller, it would be the hottest show that was ever on TV ever. Because I believe everybody has a story to tell. I don't believe everybody can dance. A lot of us will look like a fool. I don't believe all of us can sing. Like 95%, 99% of us on here can't sing. But all of us have something in common. We all have a story that can make a difference in the lives of people's relationships, their health, or their wealth. Let me ask you a question today. Are you making a difference in the lives of people in their relationships, in their health, or in their wealth? Which of those three buckets? Because you're in one of those buckets as your primary bucket. Relationships, relationship with God, relationship with their employees, relationship with their spouse, relationship with their kids, relationship with their friends. Like, relationships go deep. Wealth goes deep. Health goes deep. Health, their mind. Health, their emotions. Health, their body. Health, their nutrition. Like, which bucket do you make a difference in? Because here is what I know to be true, and we are in for a treat today. Every blippin' person that can hear my voice today has a story. Not everybody can sing. Not everybody can dance. Very few can. And this is when it became so evident for me that everybody has a story. And we're going to get into this today, and I'm excited about today. But December of 2020, I believe it was, my mother-in-law sat right over here across from me at my desk. And we were talking, and she asked me what I did. And I said, I help people get their messages and their stories out to the world on a bigger scale so that they can change this world. She said this, yeah, I don't have a story, Pete. I said, Malia, you don't have a story? Yes, you do. I said, you were a single mom who raised 3 beautiful kids. You created family legacy by doing it on your own. You were battling cancer with so much grace and so much power. You gave your kidney to my wife when she was about to lose her life. You gave her kidney to her. You don't have a story? A single mom story? A battling cancer story? A loving your kids unconditionally story? How many more moms could you serve in that? Like, I told her that, and she began to light up, and it was like, yes, it resonated, but I didn't know if anything ever happened with it. And then the next October of 2021, we lose my mother-in-law, one of my heroes. And we're getting ready for the memorial service. And it's about 12 p.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m. And the memorial service is that afternoon. And we find out that the pastor cannot fly because the American Airlines shut down or something like that. And my wife looks at me in the room and she says, will you lead my mom's memorial service? I don't know about you, But to lead one of your heroes, I can count on one hand my heroes. And two of them I've lost in the course of the last 6 to 8 months. To be asked to share something about her the day of, hours before, and the only thing that came up for me is I want to share her story. And I told Kim that. And my wife texts me because my wife had went through her mom's diary in her journal. This is so profound to today. If you don't capture this for yourself, you're missing it, because my wife shared her journal. And 1 week after she sat on that couch with me, she went and shared her story in her journal. And as I read it, I wept and I cried. And that day, I got to share her story with hundreds of her friends and family who were deeply impacted by her story. I have no regrets, but the thing I wish Malia would have been able to share her story with more people, because she would have made an impact on so many more people's lives. Today, I want to tell you something. The number one issue that you're facing in your business, that business owners are facing, the number one problem they're facing in their businesses today is that they're not getting enough attention and not getting enough customers. And let me tell you something. Everybody tells you to track your numbers. How many sales did you make this week? How many leads did you get? What's the number that you've been told to track before in your business? What's the revenues per employee? What was your ad spend? Like, I'm curious, what numbers have people told you to track in your business? I'm asking you revenues, profit and loss, your call logs, how many calls, how many strategy calls, how many reach outs. I am going to tell you the single most important, and if Grant were here, he would tell you this. If Matt Boggs were here, he would tell you this. If any successful business owner that we've worked with were here, most of them would tell you this. The most important metric you can track is how many times you share your story every week in front of people. Ideally, your ideal customers. The person who shares their company story, their individual story, their signature talk the most, whether it's 3 minutes, 30 minutes, or 60 minutes, to the most people, they are the ones that win. They are the ones that get customers and attention. And the people that don't, they don't. I want you to start keeping track of how many times you share your story, your signature talk in the course of a week, and to how many people you share it. And the more that elevates, I guarantee you more customers and more attention will come your way. Anybody that's followed me knows this. I've said this. So if you've heard me say this, Walt McKinley, do not write it in the chat. If you've heard me say it, if you don't know it, and you think it's Dubai, write Dubai in the chat. What is the wealthiest place in the world? What is the wealthiest place in the world? You heard me, Tasha. You cheated, James. You cheated. It is the graveyard. It is the graveyard, because it's places where ideas and businesses and creation was never lived out to its full potential. Princier says it's not Dubai, it's not China, it's not the United States, it's the graveyard. Because business owners who have great ideas that can change people's lives never see that to full fruition. And for me, I fight against this. I fight against this. And so today, we're going to wrap our brains around how do you get out in front of more people and share your story. And today is the first day that I'm announcing this. How many of you would think that there needs to be a TV show that actually has stories? Imagine if you got to watch a TV show every week that had a story that inspired you with your health, your wealth, or your relationships. And you saw all these contestants, and every week you're like, wow, that story makes me want to go be better in my health. better in my wealth, better in my relationships? Who's a speaker that's made you better in your health, better in your wealth, or better in your relationships? Who's a speaker? One of mine is TD Jakes. He's made me better in my relationship with God. He's made me better in my relationship with my wealth. Who's somebody for you? John Maxwell, TD Jakes, Les Brown, Robert Mack, Miles Monroe, Grant, Dean, Tony, Oprah, Marie Forleo, Pete Vargas, Miles Monroe, Craig Groeschel, Andy Stanley. Yes, they've made you better in your health, wealth, and relationships. And I said, if I ever got the chance to be in front of Mark Burnett, he is the godfather of reality TV. I said, if I ever get the chance to be in front of him, keep listing them. I want to know who they are. I said, if I pitched him this idea, he would see why the Great American Speak Off would be so much bigger than American Idol and Dancing with the Stars. Because those two shows don't leave you wanting to take action. If your audience takes action in their lives, they keep coming back for that show month in and month out. How many of you would love, and if you're not engaged in the chat and you're not committed to the next 75 minutes with me and Pat Quinn, 75 to 90 minutes, like you're not committed to fully being here, that means having your cameras on. That means being engaged in the chat. That means being present. Don't type emails. Don't return texts. My phone was on airplane mode. I'm about to check it in a minute. How many of you, if I said, I would love for you to audition for this show, that we're going to make a television show, how many of you would step into that? I'm not saying you wouldn't be scared, but you'd be like, I'm ready to audition. Write the word audition down. Write the word audition. Audition in the chat. Well, I want to tell you something. I'm going to teach today. But I got to tell you something I'm about to share on the back end. I am going to share the details of the Great American Speak Off. Put that on there. Get my ugly mug off of here and put that on there. The Great American Speak Off that's coming to 5 cities this fall. Next month, it's coming. It's happening. It's a dream come true. The people who will be producing it are 10X Studios. They've produced TV shows. And Grant said, keep that up, man. I don't need me on here. And Grant said, I want to do this with you. I want to create a television show. I want to create the next Les Brown. I want to create the next Oprah. I want to create the next Stormy Wellington. I want to create the next person. I want to make other people famous. Because if they're famous, they're making a difference in other people's lives. Yeah, I want to tell you something. I'm going to tell my community. I told the group right before this, so you're the second group, but an hour ago we had a webinar. Come back to me. An hour ago we had a webinar, and I laid it out to them. And dozens and dozens and dozens of them have already claimed a guaranteed audition. Last time Grant did something like this, 22,000 people signed up. He did a different type of TV show. He said this show will be one of the greatest shows that he ever puts on. And he's letting me and Pat Quinn lead the charge in 5 cities. And don't worry for all my worldwide people. We're actually going to do 1 virtual city, 5 live cities, 1 virtual audition. And 15 plus people will not end up in Hollywood. They'll end up in Las Vegas with the chance to be on the largest stage that they've ever been on in front of 40,000 people that will literally change the game for those 15 people. And I want to really, let me tell you why this excites me. This excites me because I get to get other stories out there on a big scale. So I'm going to talk about the details on the back end, and there's going to be several of you that step into this and do this. Now, I'm going to skip a lot of what I have here. Why do I care so much about this? If you know me, I'm not going to bypass this. I just skipped a lot of slides. If you know me, you know that my dad and I had a terrible relationship. You know that. And if you've never heard me speak, my dad did some terrible things to me. And I thought I was going to be a business guy, but I became a youth pastor. And as I was a youth pastor, I went to my youth group, a local Nazarene church. I had an $80,000 job to go be a business guy in Dallas, Texas. And my pastor said, we need you to come love on kids. Our youth group is falling apart. And he paid me $18,000. And I took it. And my first Wednesday night, there were 3 girls there: Stacy Wilt, Jory Porter, and Mackenzie Ellis. And I said, girls, we're going to bring in speakers. Woo! Look how far back this goes. This is 20 years ago. We're going to bring in speakers that are going to change our town. I'm going to bring in CEOs. I'm going to bring in financial experts and financial planners. I'm going to bring in athletes. I'm going to bring in health and wellness experts. I want my kids' relationships, their health, and the way they think about wealth to be completely transformed. These girls got behind me. And in 4 short years, we grew from 3 kids to 800 kids in a town of 15,000 people. The largest youth group per capita in the United States. Every time I brought a speaker in and they shared their story, my youth group grew. Every time you share your story on a stage, your business will grow. Grant Cardone says it's the single most, he said, anytime he gets asked what's the number one thing that made your business, it's becoming a confident communicator and taking that to stages, period. Not funnels, not Facebook ads, not social media, not any of that. And that's true for almost every great entrepreneur that you look at. That's how they started. And so I grew this youth group. But what became more important is I used speakers to grow a youth group. But what came important is the man whose daughter was killed at Columbine. She was the first victim at Columbine. She wrote this paper called My Ethics, My Codes of Life. And she said, I have this theory that if one person will go out of their way to show compassion, that it'll start a chain reaction of the same. People will never know how far a little kindness can go. She wrote this paper. This is what she stood for. And this man was just trying to get his message out to the world. And he was one of the speakers that one of my mentors told me to bring in. And he spoke. And I was 23 years old. And 10 years prior to that, my grandmother took me away from my dad because of the things that he was doing to me. My dad heard him speak. And it's the thing that prompted my dad to ask for forgiveness for the father that he had been and ask me for a second chance to do things right. And that day, in January of 2003, is when I looked on stage and I said, what was it about that man's story that finally had my dad take action in his life? It's the same thing that has your story have customers take action. It's the same thing with the stories that will be shared on the Great American Speak Off. Yeah. It's that the freaking stories can transform people's lives. And so this is what I want to tell you. This man was my first case study, my very first case study. And I called him 303-910-03. I won't tell you the last 2 digits. I said, Daryl, you spoke. Your story got a hold of my dad. It finally got him. Counseling didn't work for us. Church didn't work for us. His 8 siblings telling him you got to make things right with your son didn't work for us. But your story did. I got to help you get this out. He said, Pete, I need your help. I said, what were your revenues in 2002? Remember, January of 2003, he came in. What were your revenues in 2002? This is me calling him months later, by the way. It wasn't immediate. I called him in the summer of 2003. He was about to close his doors in 2003. This is his tax forms. He went from $150,000 to $63,000. Is that the right way or the wrong way? Everybody in the chat, right or wrong? Do you like your business decreasing like that, Miss Joseph? It was going the wrong way. So I said, dude, I am a youth pastor. I can side hustle in the morning and I can side hustle at night. I said, I'm going to start getting you on stages. I'm going to make sure that your talk's dialed in. I want to make sure that you have the right products and services. You want to go impact schools? My question to all of you out there today, who is your story impacting? His story he wanted to impact schools. Who do you want to impact? Are you trying to impact business owners, pastors, CEOs, moms, dads, people who are broken? All of us, I guess that is. Cancer survivors. Like, who are you trying to impact? Elected officials? Kingdom entrepreneurs? You want to impact philanthropy? Veterans? Deaf community? Veterans? Women in technology? Pet parents? I love that, Penny. Educators? High school students? Like, if you're not dropping something in the comments, leave. Because I don't want to work with people who don't want to. Look, lawyers, women, middle-aged moms. That's awesome. Business professionals. He wanted to impact educators and students. Watch this. I got him clear on the problem he was going to solve. This is what the whole training is about today. I make schools, the climate and culture of schools change to become more compassionate so kids aren't bullied. And we identified that 123,000 kids don't go to school for the fear of being bullied. That number has doubled, by the way. So that's the problem he was solving. I then got him clear on his talk. I then got him on his first stage. And I had him offer his $5,000 school program on that first stage of 300 people. 300 people, not a big stage. And 50 to 75 of them bought his school program. He did more revenues from one stage than he did the previous 2 years combined. And that was the birth of the stage to scale method. So what do you get to learn? If you've been with me before, you're going to learn the cutting edge of what's working in 2022, not what worked in 19 or 18 or 17. We introduced this methodology to the world in 2016. We shot our first course around this in 2016. We had to completely put it in the graveyard, no pun intended, this year, because the world has changed, the world has shifted. And so what I'm speaking to today is what's working in the world today in August of 2022. What do you think his revenues went to a few years later after we dialed this in? What do you think? Write that in the chat. You guys are so freaking engaged. I love it. 500, that would be amazing. Tripled it. 5 million, 55,000. Man, you don't have a lot of hope in that, Danielle. Oh, okay, a billion. 10x would be pretty good. It went to $6.5 million. That's the methodology we're going to spend the rest of the time with. Yeah, wow. But watch this. He said, I want to end school shootings and teen suicide and bullying. He went from impacting thousands of kids in 2003 to millions of kids in 2011. He began to see a teen suicide prevented every day and a school shooting prevented every month. Why do I want you to freaking get so clear today? Why do I want these 4 buckets? Why do I need you to become clear? Why do I need you to understand how to communicate? Grant Cardone said the most important thing he teaches his kids is how to communicate. They can learn all of the educational stuff, but if they're confident communicators, they can do anything in life. I was like, wow, mic drop. Why do I want you on stages? And why do I want your products and services to impact people? Because I know the impact that will make on our world. And so in 3 short years, 350,000 people, we've put our students on 350,000 stages, impacting 72 million people and generating $522 million. And these do not include our big clients that we work one-on-one with. That does not include our big clients that we work one-on-one with. These are everyday entrepreneurs like you and like me, that you wouldn't know many of their names, but these are our customers. And I'm proud of that. And today we expedite that. I love that Grant said, after I heard Pete teach this, I realized I've left hundreds of millions of dollars on the table. Dean Graziosi said, Pete is the authority. If you want more impact and profit, this method will scale your business without stealing your life. Stormy said, I knew his track record and I wanted him to take me places I couldn't be. And Michael Hyatt said, he didn't want to speak. He got on one stage, Chick-fil-A. He generated 500 leads and almost $1 million from one of the stages that he was on. So today, this is what we talk about. Today, this is what we focus on. I'm not committed to 350,000 stages. I'm committed to 1 million stages by 2027 that our customers are on. And the only way I can do that is if I help you. So what we're going to focus on is the post-COVID 2022 version of Stage to Scale. We completely reshot all of our content because it needed to be relevant to what's working today. I'm going to ask a question. I would love to be able to put some of you guys even on the 10X GrowthCon stage next year that's in Las Vegas. I'll get the opportunity to have at least 15 people out there. And somebody that's watching right now, you're going to tell me out there next year, maybe many of you, I knew it was me when you said it. And I'm not talking about one. I get to bring 15 plus people out there from the Great American Speak Off. Think Hollywood, baby. But instead, we're going to be Las Vegas, baby. But in order to do that, you have to understand these 4 things. And so the first 2 pieces are going to be taught by my colleague, who is one of the greatest speech communication coaches in the world. He's designed more signature talks than maybe most people out there in the world. And he helped me. He helped my wife. He helps my kids. He helped Michael Hyatt. He's helped Dean Graziosi. He's helped Grant Cardone. He's helped lots of people who I cannot discuss. And he's going to teach and raise you up on the first 2 pieces. And then I'm going to talk about the next 2 pieces. And then at the end, we're going to announce some of you will be the first people that get a guaranteed audition for the Great American Speak Off. And we're going to take some questions when I'm done teaching at the end of today. So guys, would y'all welcome for the first 2 pieces to the stage, my good friend. Give it up in the chat, Mr. Pat Quinn. Come on, let him see you. Dance, move your hands.
Wow, welcome everybody. I am
seen that guy in forever. Awesome, awesome, awesome. PQ, buddy. Let's get these first 2 things taught. I'll teach the second 2 things. I'll talk about the Great American Speak Off. And we will be answering some questions at the end, my friend.
I love it, Pete. I love it. I'm so excited about tonight because I know.
He's muted. Can't hear Pat. Guys, he doesn't understand technology that well. It's okay, Pat.
I am not
y'all
muted.
Hear him? Oh, y'all hear him? Okay, that's me.
Well, you're the only one,
Just
Pete.
joking, Pat.
It goes in one ear and out the other when I talk to you, Pete. Don't worry about it. Hey, everybody, I'm excited to be here tonight. I am super excited because I know that if you do these 4 things in the Stage to Scale method, not only are you going to create a business that has real revenue, you are going to impact the lives of more people. And so the Stage to Scale method, the first step is to get clarity. There are 2 clarity questions that we always ask, 2 clarity questions that you need answers to before we can do the other 3 steps. And so we call these the clarity questions, and they're super important. The first clarity question is, what is the problem that you solve for other people? What is the problem that you solve? Now, when I ask most people, what is the problem that you solve for other people? Most people don't give me a problem. They give me a solution. When I ask a life coach, what's the problem that they solve? They often say a better life. But a better life is not a problem. It's a good thing. When I ask health coaches, what problem do they solve for other people? They'll say healthy eating. But healthy eating is not a problem. It's a good thing. What is the actual problem that you solve? And here's the hardest part. I want you to state it in the language of the customer, not the language of the expert. Everyone who's here today, everyone who's on this call tonight is an expert in one particular area. You think about that area of expertise every single day. You watch videos about it, you read articles about it, maybe you make videos about it. And when you think about one topic so much for so long, your language starts to change. The words that you use start to change. One of the hardest things for any expert to do is to remember what words they used to use to describe the problem back before they had a solution to the problem. But if you can get this right, and by the way, you'll know you have this right because the person sitting in front of you will immediately begin nodding their head and leaning into you. That's what happens when somebody describes the problem in the way that you were thinking about it in your head. You can't stop yourself. You lean into them. If you get this right, it is going to be so easy to connect with people. It's so important. So my question for you is, the night before someone would meet you, the night before one of your ideal customers would ever even know your name, what were they laying awake at night thinking about? What were they complaining to their spouse or their best friend about? And what words did they use to describe it? I would love for you to type into the chat, what is the problem that you solve? And we're going to police each other for expert language. Because let me give you a tip. If you're using the word mindset, you're doing it wrong. Because the person who has the mindset problem doesn't use the word mindset. They don't even know what it means. And so we want to keep track of each other and make sure that we're using simple customer language. Jennifer is first out of the chute with "I'm not loved." I love it. I think it's simple language. I don't think it's hard at all. Abraham says anxiety. I like that better than mental health. I don't want to face my trauma, Walt says, because I'm afraid of what it will unlock. I don't know if a person who experienced trauma is worried about what it will unlock unless they've already sought some other solutions. And sometimes our ideal customer has sought other solutions. So I think that might be good. Not knowing how to invest my money. I like that. Rosalind, you're the master of simple language. My back hurts. Oh, I like that so much better than chronic pain. I like that so much better than autoimmune deficiencies. My back hurts. How simple is that? I love it. IPTSD and addiction and pain. Beverly, I don't know what that means. Oh, I know what PTSD means. PTSD and addictions and pain. I like it a lot better now. I think it's good. I don't have any energy. Kathy, I love that one. So this is the first clarity question. Can you state the problem in the language of the customer? The second clarity question is, who is that customer? Who is your ideal client? Who is your audience? Now, I know some of you want to serve every living human being in the world, and I hope to help you get there. But before we do that, we have to start with what I like to call the lowest hanging fruit. Who is most likely to need this solution? Who would get the most benefit from having this problem taken away? That is your ideal audience. I often call it the lowest hanging fruit. And oftentimes it's a group that you belong to. I didn't actually get my start as a professional speaker. I got my start as a professional magician, and then I became a high school math teacher. So when I started helping people with their communication, the first group that I helped were public school teachers, because I was one. I already spoke their language. I already had trust. I already knew what the problems were. So who is the first audience that you're going to serve? You typed that in before. Pete saw a lot of those and read a lot of those. I love the fact that you are so committed to helping entrepreneurs, to helping mothers, to helping the elderly, to helping infertile families, pet parents, CEOs, moms with children, Christian moms. This is your ideal audience. If you have clarity on these two issues, what is the problem that you solve? And who is the audience that you serve? The only question I have left is, how committed are you? How committed are you to serving this audience? On a scale of 1 to 10, why don't you type into the chat your level of commitment to serving this audience? Because if you're like, oh, I could help them or I could help a different audience, that'd be like a 5. But on a scale of 1 to 10, are you fully committed to helping this audience solve this problem? This is the clarity question. Who is the audience that you serve, and what is the problem that you solve for them? Now, once you have answers to the clarity questions, you're ready for the stage to scale method. And the first step of the stage to scale method is to put together a signature talk. What's a signature talk? A signature talk is how you explain to people what you do and how you do it. It's how you explain to people who don't know who you are or don't know what you do. Have you ever been somewhere and somebody came up to you and said, so what do you do? Whatever you answer right there, that's your signature talk. Your signature talk works when you're talking to one person, when you're talking to 5 people, or whether you're on stage in front of 500 people. Your signature talk works whether you have 3 minutes in an elevator or 45 minutes keynoting a big event. Your signature talk works online, on a Zoom call, on a webinar, on a phone call, but it also works in person at Starbucks, in your living room, or on stage at a big event. Your signature talk is how you get people to learn about what you do and how you do it. And I want to add one more word to what we're trying to do here. The word I want to add is a high converting signature talk. You see, I only have one measure of success. My measure of success is not that people would come up to you afterwards and say, wow, you're a really good speaker. My measure of success is not that you would make your audience laugh or make your audience cry. My measure of success, my only measure of success is, does the person you're speaking to want to take the next step with you? Do they want to go deeper with you? Because that's where the real life change takes place. Now, you get to choose what the next step is. That next step might be something that's free. Sign up for a free appointment. Sign up for a free call. Sign up for a free assessment. Download my free resource. That next step might be something that they have to pay for. Sign up for my online course. Sign up for my coaching program. Sign up for my next event. Buy my product. Use my service. You get to pick what the next step is. My question is, what percent of the audience takes the next step? We want that number as high as possible. We call that a high converting signature talk. And I know how to create a high converting signature talk. There's a big difference between being a great speaker and having a high converting signature talk. You know, I know some of the smoothest speakers. They're not nervous. Their pulse doesn't go up. They never say they never say ah. And they don't convert at a very high rate into the next step. I know other people who are scared to death. Like me, they're introverts. When they get on stage, they sometimes fumble their words. They sometimes forget what they're saying. But because of the structure of their talk, they convert into customers at very high rates. And so I want to show you the structure of a high converting signature talk. A lot of people do this wrong. A lot of people, when they have the opportunity to communicate about what they do, they start with their content. They think, if I show that I'm smarter than you, you'll want to work with me. But that's not actually true. Some people start with their offer. They tell people right away, I'm going to sell you something. I'm going to offer you something at the end of this. And that's wrong too. Let me show you the right way to do this. It's called the Story Braid Framework. And the Story Braid Framework actually has 4 steps to it. The Story Braid Framework says you shouldn't start with your head or with your hands. You shouldn't start with your content or your offer. You should actually start with your heart. Start with an opening heart story. The opening heart story isn't there to teach or to sell. The opening heart story is actually there to connect with the hearts of the people you're speaking to. After you connect with their hearts, then you can teach great content in the head section. Then you can have an offer, a call to action in the hand section. And don't stop there. Finish with heart. We begin and we end by connecting with their hearts. If you have 5 minutes to communicate to someone, do these 4 things. If you have 45 minutes to communicate with someone, do these 4 things. If you're talking to one person, do these 4 things. If you're talking to 100 people, do these 4 things. Heart, head, hands, and heart are the 4 things you have to do every time you communicate about what you do and how you do it. It is the perfect structure for a signature talk. So in the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to walk you step by step through the process of designing the perfect signature talk. Let's start with that opening heart story. You have 3 things you have to do in the first 5 minutes of your talk. You have to be ordinary, you have to be extraordinary, and you have to show your why. Ordinary means I'm just like you. I've walked in your shoes. I've struggled with what you've struggled with. I feel your pain. Extraordinary means I've solved a problem that you still have. It doesn't mean that your life is perfect. Nobody wants to work with someone whose life is perfect. You just feel guilty all the time. What it means is I've solved one problem that you still have. And the third thing you want to do is to show your why. Now, I believe the fastest way to be ordinary, extraordinary, and show your why is through episodic storytelling. Episodic storytelling is not to read us your resume. Episodic storytelling is not to tell us your entire life story. Episodic storytelling is to tell a single first-person story and take us into a room. Tell a personal story and take us into a moment where we can see what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel. You know, one of the people that we've worked with is LaVonna Roth, and LaVonna used to begin her presentations by telling us about herself, saying that she grew up very poor. But we changed the beginning of her presentation. When LaVonna was 14 years old, her family got evicted from their apartment, and a friend said, "You can come live with us." When they got to the friend's house, the friend said, "Well, we don't actually have an extra room for you to sleep in, but we do have an abandoned chicken coop attached to our garage. You're welcome to sleep in there." And as a 14-year-old girl, LaVonna walks the audience into the chicken coop for the very first time. And you can see what she sees. You can hear what she hears. You can smell what she smells. I have to tell you, I've watched LaVonna tell this story to audiences a number of times, both online and on stage. And at that moment, you could hear a pin drop. And at that moment, that audience will go anywhere with her. Certainly, they'll listen to the next 40 minutes of her presentation, but more importantly, they want to do business with her. They want her to succeed. Her story is their story. Episodic storytelling creates an emotional attachment to the audience that simply isn't possible any other way. So my question for you is, what story are you going to tell? What room are you going to take us into? What moment are you going to share with the audience? Now, some of you might be sitting there thinking right now, I don't have a story like that. I hear other speakers and they have these amazing stories, and I just have an ordinary life with ordinary problems like ordinary people do. And I want to encourage anybody who's thinking that right now. Your story is enough. Ordinary stories are actually better than extraordinary stories. Look, I've been very fortunate in the last 10 years to work with some of the greatest speakers in the world, billionaires, people who have television shows, 2 different astronauts, 6 different Olympians. I coach a guy who's climbed to the top of Mount Everest, not the base camp, but the top. Now, when he tells that story about climbing to the top of Mount Everest, how many other people in the room can relate to that story? Well, none. Nobody's ever done it. I coach another person. This person, when they tell their story, they tell a story about arguing with their spouse about whether the toilet paper should come out over the top of the roll or under the bottom of the roll. When they tell that story, how many people in the audience can relate to that story? Every single person. Ordinary stories are better than extraordinary stories. If you've got a 1 in a million story, you're going to help 1 in a million people. But if you have a 1 in every household story, if you have the story of a single mom who's super busy, or of a parent of young kids who sometimes gets frustrated, or of a person who's an empty nester who lost their purpose in life, or of a solopreneur who's struggling to focus. I mean, these are stories that are so common, stories that are so everywhere that you're going to impact the lives of so many people. Ordinary stories are better than extraordinary stories. So I want you right now in the chat, if you think you have a story to tell, a story that can help others, a story that can change lives, a story that can create revenue and impact, type into the chat, I have a story. I have a story to tell. I don't want anybody to walk away from this training thinking my story isn't enough. I have a story to tell. Your story is enough, and it can change the lives of others if you can tell it correctly. Now, after you tell that opening story, that's the time to deliver the content. That's the time to help people. Don't just describe the problem, actually help people with real solutions. This is the longest part of your presentation. It's also the part of your presentation that expands and contracts with how much time you have. And so if you have a longer time slot, you'll probably teach more content. You'll give more solutions. If you have a shorter time slot, you're in the elevator with somebody, you meet somebody at a cocktail party or a networking event, well, then you're not going to teach much content at all. But you always want to help people. Don't teach too much content. The person who teaches the most does not win. The person who teaches the most leaves their audience overwhelmed, scared, and confused, but they don't get the person to take the next step. So teach content that actually helps and teach the right amount. After your content, it's time for your call to action. Your call to action is when you tell the audience the one next thing that they should do. Not 5 next things, not 3 options, one next step. A great presentation is like a sidewalk that leads to a single point of decision. Do you want this or not? Do you want this or not? If you give people too many options, they're going to freeze and say, I don't know what to do. I don't know which one of these things I should do. And so everything leads to this single next step. That's your call to action. But don't stop there. Some people stop with their call to action, and that is a mistake. Remember, in our 4-part story braid framework, there's something that comes after the call to action, and that is the closing heart story. The closing heart story is an emotional close right after your tactical close. You don't want to skip this because half of your audience are emotional decision makers. Half of your audience doesn't want the tactical call to action. They want the emotional call to action. If you finish your presentation with your tactical call to action, you are leaving 50% of your customers behind, 50% of the money on the table. Most importantly, you're simply not having the impact that you could be having on this world. So after your call to action, always have an emotional close. When you put these 4 parts together, heart, head, hands, and heart, you have the formula for the highest converting signature talk. You do a webinar, do these 4 things. You go on a podcast, do these 4 things. You're on a sales call, do these 4 things. And let me tell you this, when you do this correctly, it will change all of the communication that your business does. It'll change what's on your website. It'll change what's on your social media. It will change what you do on your sales call. It will change your presentations for sure. This is the story braid framework. There's 4 parts to it. Heart, head, hands, and heart. Make sure you do all 4 of these. You know, Amy Yamada learned this framework, and she says, I use my signature talk framework in everything I do. I did my talk in front of 14 people at my Powerhouse retreat. Don't let that slip by you. She didn't do her talk in front of 140 people. She didn't do her talk in front of 1,400 people. She did her talk in front of 14 people and made a call to action, and 10 people said yes. It was my biggest week, $111,000, a small but powerful stage. That's just one person in front of 14 people. Warren Buffett says now you can improve your value by 50%, the value of you, the value of your business, just by learning communication skills, public speaking, and that is the 4-part story braid framework. And so, Pete, I know you know the power of the story braid framework. We've got a group of people here tonight that are committed. I think when I said put a number between 1 and 10, just about everybody put a number higher than 10 or 10. They are fully committed with clarity, and now they know how to put together a great signature talk. Those are the first 2 parts of the stage to scale method.
Yeah, man, Pat, I love that. Guys, give Pat some love. He's going to be here for the end, towards the end. Give him some love. Some of you need that refresher. Some of you need that refresher, and some of you need that to go deeper and deeper and deeper in. I want to ask you a question really quickly because we've got 2 major announcements. One, I both serve you in a really profound way. One has to do with the Great American Speak Off, which I'm excited. I'm going to tell you the dates and the cities, and I'm going to allow, up to 100 people to get guaranteed audition, up to. But I also have something else. I need you to take so you've got to get clarity on the problem you're solving. And right now, there's bigger problems in our world than there's ever been before. ever before. God put a problem in my heart. Like, the bigger the problem you tackle, the bigger the payout that you have. Write that down. So God put a huge problem in my heart, and I was like, no, I don't want to go do that. I already have 4 businesses. Like, we have 2 8-figure businesses, 2 7-figure businesses, one of them about to be 8, that have all been built using the stage to scale methodology. So there was a new business that got put in my heart at the beginning of the year. Many of you don't know this. I felt like I was going to a lot of masterminds and I wasn't able to connect with other Christian business owners that were doing 7, 8, and 9-figure in business. And I felt like I couldn't have that deeper conversation about my Christian faith with people. And the Lord revealed to me a problem. And I'm asking you to think about the problem, or the bigger problem that your community might be facing today. Like, are you still living in 19 and 18 with the way that you're communicating the problem you solve? Because the problems are bigger and they're more plentiful in the world than they've ever been. So I got this download. There does not exist, a group does not exist on this planet that's for 7, 8, and 9-figure Christian business owners. I've never launched a mastermind, and I feel like that's a problem in the market. And I literally put myself out on one stage. And I cannot believe it, but a few months later, I have 55 founding members in that group. And as they heard me speak about it on a few different stages, the same thing kept being said. I've been praying for this. I've been losing sleep over this. I've been thinking about this. Like, this is something that I need. Like, one of the members that's part of that group that said he's never been a part of a group is my good friend, Ed Milet. And I could go on. And this is completely different than C12, completely different than C12. I love C12's work, but that's not the point. Like, I don't want you to get stuck in like, oh, I know another group. Get stuck in the problem that your people are losing sleep over. And for me, I get to hear it from God. We all have that ability too. You call it download, you call it insight, you might call it the universe. I call it God. There are greater problems, and I believe our Creator wants you to solve them because He made you a creator. So my question to you is, how would you rate yourself in the problem you're solving and who you're serving category? Like, where would you rate yourself? 1 to 10 right now. Where would you rate yourself? And then the second thing I want to say that Pat spoke about is communication and signature talk. How well would you rate yourself there in the amount you're sharing it and the way and the structure that you're sharing it? Where would you rate yourself there? Dude, 4 weeks ago, and excuse my dudes, it's just part of one of those things I say, but a few weeks ago, Grant was on one of my stages and he said the number one thing I tell the kids who homeschool my gals, my girls can learn science and math and all of that easily. The skill set that I want them to have is I want them to be a confident communicator, because a confident communicator can create anything in this world. That's one of the reasons why he bought one of my companies in March of this year. Half of one of my companies this year is because it's creating more confident communicators who are sharing their story. And so how do you rate yourself in this bucket? And if you're high in both of them, like Jesse said 9 or 10, Jesse, my question to you is, where are your revenues today? They should be really high. And if I wouldn't put myself at a 10 and a 10 in these. I wouldn't put myself at a 10 and a 10. And if these two are high, that means you should be in the scale bucket. Like, you should be a 7 or multiple 7-figure business if you're that high. Like, I want you to know that. That's what's at stake here. Last 2 things I want to talk about, and then we're going to make a couple of these announcements and take some Q&A. Scaling beyond the stage. A lot of you don't know this. Some of you do know this. This is one of my favorite quotes that Zig Ziglar has ever said. How many of you know Zig Ziglar? Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar. How many don't know Zig Ziglar by show of hands? Oh, Ada, we got to get Zig Ziglar in your home, Ada. We got to get him in your home. He was one of the great legends. He said this quote. He said, "I've never changed someone's life with the speaking gig," meaning his talk, But sometimes I do a speaking gig and they buy my tapes and cassettes. And if they buy my cassettes, I've got a shot at changing their lives. Zig came to realize in his 70s that it's his products and services that change people's lives, not his speaking. The talk is intended to get people to come into your world and want to know more. Your products and services are the things that transform their lives. Tom Ziglar, my first phone call with Zig Ziglar's son, I said, Tom, this is my favorite quote of your dad's. And he said, you want to know where that quote came from? I said, yes, I do. He said, Dad always thought it was his talks on stages that changed his lives, changed people's lives. But then he started reading testimonials and he asked his secretary if it get 100 random testimonials. And if it says I changed their life through my talk, put them in this bucket. And we turn that off over there, the unit. And if they change my life through the products and services, put them in this bucket. 100 random. There was 1 in the bucket of his talk, and there were 99 in the bucket of his products and services. I want you to know that it's your products and services that transform people's lives, but it's your talk that's going to get them engaged to want to have your products and services. Tom Ziglar went on to say, this is one of the most powerful quotes that anybody's ever said about me, anybody. He said, you ever met someone where you felt an instant connection to him or her? That's what it felt like when I met Pete Vargas. He said, within seconds, I knew we were on the same path in life, had the same values and the driving forces behind us. If I'm honest, he reminded me a lot of my dad. Like, to be compared to Zig Ziglar is one of the quotes that gives me goosebumps more than anything else. But the thing I got to understand in my 20s that it took Zig in his 70s to understand is your products and services change people's lives. And so depending on what bucket you are on, this is the 17 different products and services. Bring this up on their screen so they can use their phone to take a picture, because I'm not going to be able to go through all of these. But these are the 17 products and services that we have helped our customers use, build, do, or whatever. And if you're in the start bucket, I highly recommend that you pick one in there. If you're in the momentum, add one into the momentum. And if you're in the scale, add one into the scale. Meaning, if you're trying to make a decision, what I believe to be true, take a picture of that, is that you have got to have a perfect product suite. Come back to me. And you guys know this, and I'm going to tell you the products and services that I'm seeing our clients win with in the market today in 2022. I have 5, but there's actually a 6th one. I'm going to tell you 6 products and services that are winning for our customers. But before I show you those 5 or 6, I want you to think about having a low ticket one, a mid ticket one, and a high ticket one. When Michael Hyatt saw the perfect product suite, he was like, yes, I actually think they brought one of their products back because of that. Meaning that you need to have something that's low ticket that your customers can buy, mid ticket, high ticket. We also consider this do it yourself, done with you, and done for you. I'm curious of how many of you today, right now, be honest with me, have a low ticket, mid ticket, and high ticket that's actually selling and creating sales this month and last month. If that's you, say PPS. PPS. I don't need the not yets. PPS. Good job, James Bullis. When we first met, before you were a customer, you did not. Greg, great job, buddy. Dr. Greg, great job. But look at that. That's about 3 to 5% of you that have a perfect product suite. Do you realize, I'm going to tell you a secret? Robert Joseph, those 17 products, Grant Cardone has all 17 of them in his perfect product suite. He has all 17 of them. He has all of them in here. He's probably got like 6 here, 6 here, and 5 here. I'm not advocating for you to have all 17. I need you to get to the point where you have 1 in each. 1 in each. So let me tell you 6 of my favorites right now. Right now. And you're going to hear the 6th for the first time. The first one that's one of my favorites is service-based business or a done-for-you service. People, I just had a gal from my friend Jill Stanton text me and say, do you have a done for you service in getting people on stages? I said, yeah, but it's a premium. It's like 30, 40K a year to do that. And she's like, great, that's what my people want. Like success, like people who are winning in their business, who are in the momentum and scale sections of their business, they love done for you services. So what is a done for you service that you can add down here to your high ticket offer? The second one is coaching. Actually, I'm going to give you the top 5 and I'm going to replace one. I'm going to do this publicly in front of you guys because I actually believe at my core I'm supposed to. The second one is coaching one-to-one or one-to-many. I just want you to know people are looking for coaches. We're working with we're working with 3 of the biggest coaching organizations in the United States. They're one-on-one clients of ours. And their demand for coaching is at all-time highs. So you can coach. You can get paid a premium to coach one-on-one. My one-on-one coach, I invest $250,000 into him every year. And my deliverable is I meet with him once a week. Why? Because he's taken me from a place where I am to a place where I want to be. One-to-many is even more powerful because of the fact that you might not be able to charge as much, but now you're coaching to a lot. That's my second favorite. I'm about to replace my third. Now listen, I'll talk about the third. I like your own. So coaching could be high ticket or it could be mid ticket if it's group coaching. Your own events. I'm going to tell you what, I like your own events. But what I've learned is unless you have a lot of media, big social media following, a lot of email list, it's not easy to have your own events, paid own events. I would rather you go be on other people's stages because it has a bigger return for you. So own events fall into the low ticket bucket, but I have to tell you and be really upfront and honest with you. Being on free events or OPSs that are free is much better than trying to have your own paid event, because unless you have a big following or a big email list, what they don't tell you about books and your own events is actually it makes a lot more sense as you begin to build your following in your email list to put those on, because now you have a following that makes it easier. So I like these, but I'm going to tell you the one that I believe is one of my favorites right now is masterminds. I'm talking about masterminds. I launched a multiple 7-figure business in 60 days to 90 days, launching my first mastermind. There is a common problem. Like there's masterminds for people who want to be better in digital marketing. There's masterminds for people who want to connect with other Christian business owners that are successful like them. There's masterminds for people who want to have better marriages. There's masterminds for people who want to go take extravagant retreats 3 times a year. And the person who quarterbacks it or launches it or starts it is the one who will get paid a premium for those. And so masterminds are powerful, powerful, and I love them. I've just never done one. And I've done one for the first year. And I saw that the problem was so big that it filled up in 60 days with no paid ads, no marketing, no anything except a few stages and a video. That's it. I didn't even have the way to process payment for a while. So I love masterminds. Those fall into the high ticket and the mid ticket. Last 2, digital courses. They fall into the low ticket and the mid ticket. They scale. We produce stage to scale. Is there any stage to scale alumni here? If you're an alumni and you purchase stage to scale, you purchased it in the past, and you can tell everybody you purchased it for $2,000, right, James? You bought it for $2,000. That was, look at the price, what people paid for that. Bhavesh, you did. I remember you did through a Michael Hyatt webinar, Bhavesh. Julie bought $19.95. We shot that in 2016 and 17. And we didn't have to reshoot it until 2022. 6,000 to 8,000 students later. Did you guys hear that? 6,000 to 8,000 students later. We did not have to reshoot it. It scales. And then when you go couple it with some coaching or something else, it really, really scales. Just a few months ago, we reshot it for the first time because it was outdated in the world that we currently live in. And then the fifth one is training and consulting. I want to let you know that people want the shortcut. And if you have the shortcut, they would rather come spend a day with you or consult with you for 3 months or 6 months, and they will pay a premium to spend a day with you. My day when I got started selling my days, anybody want to spend a day with me, by the way? Anybody? Yeah, Margarita, I like you, Margarita, already. Well, you probably won't after I tell you kind of what's happened. But back in 2016, I wanted to charge $5K for a day. And I felt like, oh my God, I cannot do that. It's too much money. The scarcity mindset came up in me. And I did, and people bought it. And they kept saying, you made me hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars from today. Okay, let's charge 10. Kept saying the same thing. Let's charge 25. Kept saying the same thing. Let's charge 50. Kept saying the same thing. So we just this year took my day rate up to $100,000. And my team could actually share on a screenshot in our merchant processing multiple $100,000 days, including one that I'm with tomorrow. Why? I asked them, why would you spend 100,000 or 50 or 20 or 10 or whatever for whatever it is? And they said, because it's a shortcut. I get dedicated access to your brain for my business or for my life. So consulting and training really is powerful. It's one of the most profitable things in our company, and it's high ticket. So what do I want you to do? I want you to take this and I want you to go make sure that you're committed to filling out your product suite. That you're committed. Hal Elrod only had a book. He only had a book, which I don't consider, and he had keynote speaking. I said, Hal, forget that. You're going to have your own event. You're going to have a digital course, and you're going to have your speaking. And he took our process. And in one day, he had been telling himself for 5 years he was going to create a course. How many of you have a course that's selling today? How many of you actually have a course that's selling? Put course in the comments. That's actually selling. That's selling. Just sold my first 3. Congratulations, Michelle. I wish. Well, stop wishing. For 5 years, he wished. He became a student of ours and got it done in one day. We have a process. We showed people how we shot a course in 1 hour. We came up with the idea live with a group of our Stage to Scale. Any of you Stage to Scale see us shoot that course in 1 hour? 1 hour? Yeah, some of you saw that. 1 hour and 37 minutes, if I'm being honest, and 37 seconds. And we created the idea in front of them and then went behind the scenes and finished the course in an hour. So some of you got to get after this perfect product suite because Zig Ziglar said, it's your products and services that will change people's lives. Dial into products and services that are working in today's world. I'll tell you what, courses alone are not working. You have to couple those with some coaching so people get the results. Last thing, and I cannot wait for these announcements, is stages. Some of you have not seen what I'm about to show you. And some of you have. The problem that you're being sold is a bright, shiny object syndrome. You're being sold bright, shiny object syndrome. What does that mean? People are having you buy into roads. What do you mean roads? I consider a sales funnel a road. I consider your own event a road. I consider a challenge a road. I consider phone calls a road. I consider podcasts a road. What do you mean? This is not the field of dreams. If you build these things, they do not come. A road without traffic. If some of you wrap your brain around this, it's going to transform your business today. Love seeing Jill Nash, Greg Moyer. Love seeing you guys. I was told, build the funnel, and I built the funnel, and I was so proud of it. But what was missing? What was missing? Traffic. Your roads have to have traffic. I'm not saying these 5 things are bad. I'm saying they're useless without traffic. Your road has to have traffic. So you've been sold a lot of bright, shiny object syndrome that you thought was going to get you business, but it didn't because it was simply a road. Sometimes you have to produce the road and then you have to go produce the traffic. I'm going to tell you one instance where that's not true. But here's some traffic sources that a lot of my friends use: paid media, content creation, search engine optimization, email marketing, affiliate marketing. So let me tell you some of the truth behind these. These all work. We do 4 out of the 5. We're kind of starting to do this one more. Paid media costs $17 a lead to get somebody to register for something. That means you have to spend a lot of money. Content creation takes months and most likely years to produce stuff. Same with search engine optimization. Email marketing, I love it. We have email lists of hundreds of thousands of people, but it took me a long time before I could dial into this. Affiliate marketing, it's all about having a relationship with somebody. So these are traffic sources, but they're not easily used traffic sources. Can I tell you the best road and traffic source that exists in this planet? And more so in 2022 than the last time that you heard me speak, if you've heard me speak. How many people is today the first time you're hearing me speak? I don't think that's the case, but is there a first? Put first. Put first. Man, cool. Cool. And please, this is an important comment for me. First, wow. A lot of you say, man, I don't want to tell my story again. I don't want to tell my story again. Everybody's heard it. I even almost talked myself into not telling my story of why I do what I do today. But it's not, people don't come back to the Beatles for or to the Garth Brooks. If I don't hear Friends in Low Places, I'm pretty pissed off. Your story is like that great best hits. Some of you heard something different in my story today. So traffic, other people's stages is the most powerful road and traffic combined. Combined. You get them both in one. What do you mean, Pete? It's like I'm leveraging other people's money and other people's time, meaning the person who built the road, the person who built the traffic, and I get to show up and participate. Did you guys wrap your minds around that? Who got that? If you did, say yes. If you didn't, say no. Be honest with me. Be honest with me. If it's a no, please tell me no. Thank you, because I'm about to illustrate it. You see, I think about Grant Cardone, my business partner. I'm so proud to have Grant Cardone as a business partner. He has done me and my family so well for 4 years. He licensed my content for 4 years. And in March, he bought one of my companies, half of one of my companies. But let me tell you the power of OPSs. Grant in 2019 spent $20 million on Marlin Stadium. 2020, he spent his big GrowthCon event that this next year, 40,000 people will be at. 15 of our Speak Off people will be coming to Vegas to it. 15 of them, 15 of you. That was a breakout stage for me. This is what he spent in the last 4 years. Write that in the chat if you can see it. How much did he spend in the last 4 years on his stages? $43 million. And that doesn't take into consideration all of the team that he had built for the last 20 years, all of the ads, all of the social media, all of the office space, all of the coffee and the water coolers at the offices, all of the moving from California to Miami, all of the videos, all of the content. Are you wrapping your head around this? It didn't take into consideration the hundreds of millions of dollars that he had spent to be even able to fill those 4 events. Some of this is clicking. Let me ask you an important question. Who was the only non-family member on that stage all 4 years? That sexy Mexican. And yes, I am. My niece is upstairs. My baby sister's daughter's upstairs, and she says, "I'm Mexican, baby." She says it to all of our family members. I'm the only one. How much did I spend? I didn't have to spend $243 million. I didn't even have to pay any of the $243 million back. I'm just using 240 million as a couple hundred there and 43 there. I didn't even have to pay any of it back. How many customers did I generate? How much revenues did I create? And how much impact was had? Countless. Does that help you guys understand the power of OPSs? Who understands it? Like, you should have two flipping hands up if you're seriously committed to getting your message out to the world. Guess who just got asked to speak for a fifth time? Fifth time, baby. TN, fifth time, baby. Let's go. Fifth. But it didn't get started. It got started on a stage of 50 people for me. 50. And 15 of them became customers. And I was like, yes, this worked. It didn't just work for the clients I served. It works for me and it worked for you. So what I want to do in just the remainder of our time, I'm going to be done with the teaching in about 10 minutes. I just want to help you understand what you've got to do today in 2022. I want to help you understand about stages. What's the state of stages in our market today? That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you the shortcut to finding them, and I'm going to give you one tool to winning them. Cool? Does that sound good? Who's convicted of OPSs? You need more OPSs in your business. Like, if you're convicted, put OPS in the chat. Like, if you're convicted that you need more OPSs, let's go. I coined that phrase, by the way. Now everybody's trying to be like OPA, other people's audiences. No, it's other people's stages. That's what it is. You're on somebody else's stage and their audience is listening to you. So no stages. Put this on their screen really quickly. My wife has zero desire. Take a picture of this. My wife, so incredible to see my good friend and beautiful lady, Jacqueline. So great to see you. I love your mission and I love who you are. I love how you're serving people. Thank you. Makes me happy. My wife has no desire to be on physical stages, but she built her business from 0 to 6 figures by just being on digital stages. Just being on digital stages. She doesn't have to leave her home. She doesn't have to leave her 4 kids. She gets to go be on somebody's Instagram account that has 1,000 people watching, that she didn't have to build that 1 million person Instagram account, but she got to show up for a live. She gets to be on somebody's podcast who has 250,000 downloads a month. Grant Cardone said he's made $100 million just on being on other people's podcasts. I want you to pick a couple of these stages. Go back on your phone later after you've taken a picture and come back to me. I want you to go pick a couple of these stages, and I want you to go start focusing on winning in them. And I'm going to show you how to win them. But the thing I want you to understand more than anything today is that digital stages in 2022 have never been more accepted than they are today. Does that make sense? They were just a throwaway before COVID. Nobody took them seriously before COVID. And now they're a norm. Now they're a norm. The second bucket of stages that I want to make sure you're aware of, and this is important, put this on their screen too. Why don't you go be on other people's stages that have masterminds, that are running conferences, that are one of my favorite for all of you on here? You want to know the instant way to grow your business quickly? It's the top left-hand corner stage. Stages that you can drive to and be on a local stage and drive back home. I proved that I could build a 7 or 8-figure business just by driving in Colorado and not leaving anywhere out of Colorado. I want you to think about 2 or 3 of these types of stages that you need to be on and start to put yourself on these stages. Come back to me. Watch this. The CEO of events.com, who will have an exit of multi-billion dollars when he exits that company, said, Pete, I have the data. He told me when the COVID cases were going to begin to drop and the world was going to begin to open on a bigger scale this past year. And he nailed it. Like, I was paying attention to the data. The second data point that he told me might be that this might be the most important thing that I tell you the entire webinar, entire training today. He said 2022, 2023, and 2024 will be the greatest years in the history of our world, and there will never be years like those three again, where stages, events, in-person events are packed and filled to the brink because people are missing human connection. He said the greatest opportunity for people to use stages to grow their business, the people who are the speakers at those events will literally have a deeper connection because the people in the room need what they have even more because they haven't been in rooms. You have 2.5 to 3 years to really allow this to S-curve and take your business to another level. They'll still be here in 2025, but the next 2.5 years are the most important. Let me tell you about finding. Let's go to find. The second part is find. You got to find stages. I'm going to tell you the number one way to find stages. I'm not even going to explain the cold methodology. Bring this up on their screen, please. The number one way to find stages is to ask people in your life who believe in what you have to say and believe in the work that you're doing. This is your customers, your friends, your colleagues, past groups you've been a part of, associates. I want to make a little bit of a guarantee for you here today. If you will go write down 5 champions, and if you're really brave, you'll do 10. 5 to 10 people who believe in your work, come back to me. And you will just simply reach out to them. And here's what I want you to say to them. Thank you for being a champion and somebody who believes in what I do. I feel like I'm supposed to take my message and be on more digital and physical stages, serving more doctors or more chiropractors or more couples or more parents or more C-level executives or whatever, whoever you serve that I asked you at the beginning. And I know that you're connected to a lot of those, you're connected to those types of stages. Would you give me 5 or 10 recommendations? I shot a video yesterday on a training to a gentleman in front of people I've never asked for anything for lawyer stages. And he gave me 5 stages just by using that script. He said, my stage, MTMP, Game Changer Summit, NTL, CEO Lawyer Summit. I've got 5 lawyer stages from shooting that 30-second video to 1 champion yesterday. And watch this. Anybody want to guess what the closing rate is on as he introduces me to those stages? Anybody want to guess what the closing rate is? It's not 100%. James Bullis, you're exactly right. It's 80%. Our data in 2017, 2018, and 2019, when the world went to craziness, we didn't track as much. But pre-COVID, the data showed us that when a champion connects you to a stage, you've got an 80% chance of closing that stage. Why would I teach you to go do cold research today? All you have to do is reach out to 5 champions and watch what begins to happen. Watch what begins to happen. You will win a stage in the next week if you reach out to 5 champions who believe in your work. This does not have to be a past stage that you've been on. It's somebody who believes in you. Customers, friends, colleagues, groups you're a part of. I reached out to Denise McIntyre, who used to run Brendan Burchard's events, and Audrey Hagan, who used to run people's events. And they connected me with my first 5 stages, my first 3 stages. That's the shortcut. Now, listen, I can teach you how to shortcut Google and go find thousands of stages, but I'm not going to do that today because I want to give you the thing that works. Last thing I want to do is I want to share with you one tool so you get introduced to a stage. I had a champion introduce me to Mary Morrissey when I was starting my business. I just did a webinar with her people. She had dozens and dozens of people confirm a guaranteed audition on the Speak Off. They're so stoked. But I told them the 1-2 punch. I said there was a champion who introduced me to them. And then after they introduced me to them, I want to show you the tool that I've used for 20 plus years. This is a tool that I use to win the White House and Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, Oprah Winfrey. Her show. That's how profound this tool is. I've been using it for 20 years. Now, I could tell you all of the freaking tools. There's 25 tools. And by the way, in 2015, James Bullis, Richard Whitmore, I see my boy Richard Whitmore. Good to see him. He's an alumni too. In 2015, I designed the very first OPS campaign that ever existed. There's speakers bureaus, but speakers bureaus book famous people. What about the person who folks aren't knocking down their door to be on stages? We created the first campaign in the world in 2015 that helped everyday entrepreneurs actually have a systematic approach to winning stages. And in 2021 and 2022, we had to completely revamp it. This is the revamped version of our OPS campaign. It will win you digital stages. It will win you industry stages. It will win you physical stages. And it will also have you win champions giving you stages. This is bad A. And if I tried to tell you to do it all, I'd be doing you a disservice. So what's the one freaking tool that I want to show you in this campaign? And I'm telling you, if you will reach out to champions, get some stage recommendations back, and then shoot this video, you will win stages. Pat Quinn and I are committed to being on, write this down because I want to know your numbers. We're committed to be on one digital stage a month or a week, one digital stage a week, and one physical stage a month. That means he's on 12 physical stages a year, I'm on 12. He's on 52 digital, I'm on 52 digital. That produces 8 figures in business. In business. So let me give you this first impression video, and then we're going to rock and roll and jam. So I want you to take a picture of this script really quickly here. Put this on their screen. So you take a picture of that script, and it's the first impression video. And I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through it right here with you live. So Debbie Phelps, some of you have heard me tell this story. She represented a local stage of 100 people. Many of you, all you have to be on is an OPS of 100 people. And I shot her this video, and I used this script right here. And I said, Debbie, our friend John and Max and Susan, I don't remember all the people's names, speak so highly of you and said that we should be connected. Or you could insert the champion that said you should be on their stage. You see that? Rapport. Recognize them in their event. Debbie, what you're doing for the school district of Baltimore blows my mind away. The initiatives and the things that you're doing to create safe climates and compassionate, caring school climates like in culture. Thank you for what you're doing. We got to look it up online, and I'm just blown away at what you're doing. My name is Pete Vargas, the problem I solve. And I represent Rachel's challenge. Rachel was the first girl killed at Columbine back in 1999. And her journals and her writing are the foundational piece of a school program that's helping end teen suicide and school shootings and making schools the most compassionate place that exists in this world. We've been in over 20,000, 25,000 schools. And I would like to talk to you about speaking and serving your school and about ways that we can also help you. Can we schedule 5 to 10 minutes to talk? This is Debbie Phelps. She has no idea who I am. She's never met me. Nobody's ever told her anything about me. And she schedules a call with me. And I book her school, customer number 1. I book her district of 100 principals. And 25 of them buy our $5,000 program. 25. And then she becomes part of our advisory board in 2008. That video won Oprah. That video won so many stages. That script works. A few years later, In 2018, I'm launching my business like so many of you are. I'm trying to grow my business. I'm trying to scale my business. And I find out that her son, Michael Phelps, is speaking on a stage at the World Series of Sales with 1,000 financial advisors. Any financial advisors here? Any financial advisors here? Any of you hear me at the World Series of Sales possibly? Well, I saw that I wanted the World Series of Sales. It was one of my dream stages because it had lots of my potential customers in there. Michael was opening. Howie Mandel was closing. I shot the video to the CEO of a company that manages multiple billions of dollars. The CEO, here's my video. The same script that I just shot for you right there. It showed him to schedule a time with me. He scheduled a time on August 24th, 2017 at 10:10 a.m. He booked me on his stage. He let me talk about my products and services for 5 minutes. And that weekend, 125 financial advisors bought a $10,000 program. That weekend, my wife and I, like, we're 2 years into business. I'm upstairs in my room crying because we don't even know how to process that many orders. Because we had been on small stages and we'd get 8 or 10 or 15 or 20 customers. Now we have 125. Anybody know the math on that? 1.25 million. And, you know, some of it came in payment plans. I think we got like $1 million processed, close to $1 million processed that weekend. That's when this thing just went to a whole nother level for me. And so, guys, what I want to tell you is if you're serious about taking your story, if you're serious about taking your message out to this world, you have to dial this process in. You have to dial this process in. Check this out. Yes, we've been able to impact our students, and you are our next case study. Even if you're an alumni of ours, since you've been with me in 2019, my business has exponentially grown. Stay in our world because we're exponentially growing and we want you to as well. New people like this, you are the next case study. Watch this, real numbers. Here's our numbers. Here's 3 digital stages we've been on in the last few years. Look at the leads that we got. That would cost me $100,000 in Facebook advertising. I was on a challenge, a live event, and a webinar. And look at the sales that were generated from digital stages. From my home. Look at the sales that were generated from physical stages. And leads. And look at the sales. What if you want to go dominate one industry? We wanted to really get known in the financial advisor space. And so you can see that how much we processed right out of the gates. I said 125 sales, but look, these are small stages of 100 people or 200 people. And look what happened on those stages. This works. It's the fastest way to grow your business. Anybody who's out there that's honest, that's built something big will tell you being a powerful communicator and taking your story to stages is the fastest way to grow your business. And so as I kind of wind down, I want to ask you a question, and I ask this question all of the time. What is, if you're on a small stage of 75 people, the probability of you getting 8 new customers is very real. Very real. I want you in the chat, every single person. They're between the Facebook groups we're streaming this and in the chat. We've got probably 800,000 people watching this live. I want you to tell me, what would one stage of 75 people and 8 new customers, what would 8 new customers mean to you? I don't need you to see GrowthCon stage or hundreds of stages or thousands of stages or the biggest stages. I need you to see a stage of 75 people. What would 8 new customers be worth to you? Look at those numbers. 400K, a new home, 100K. I don't need all big numbers. Like if some of you got 15,000 or 7,000 or tell me 40,000, Ann has 8,000. No, just tell me what 8 new customers would be worth to you. Thank you, Marcus. $4,800. That's one small stage. What am I telling you? You follow our methodology, you can be on 12 physical stages and 52 digital stages, and this can become the #1 customer acquisition channel in your business. I asked you to rate yourself there. I asked you to rate yourself there. But I want to ask you, the final question is, what would you rate yourself in your perfect product suite? Write it on your paper. And what would you rate yourself with stages today in a post-COVID world? Products, 449728000630044. So here's my commission to you. I'm 7 to 10 minutes from telling you about the Great American Speak Off. There's two types of people here today. Number one, there's people who are like, what do I need to do leaving this training? And I'm going to tell you, go to the place where you have the biggest deficit. You've now rated all 4 of these areas. Go to the place where you have the biggest deficit and focus on increasing that area. I want you to be 7s and above across the board. I want 7s at least in all areas, but you cannot try to focus on all 4. Focus on the one that's the lowest. What's the lowest of these 4 areas for you today? That's my call to action. For the rest of you who are like, Pete, we know we can work with you. I have my alumni here. I'm going to do something really cool for my alumni. Pete, we'd rather move fast in all 4 of those areas and take them to a new level. I'm just going to tell you about how we do that in 2022. It looks different. And I want to tell you about how we're going to do that in 2022. Can I share this? Can I get your permission to share how we can help you in all 4 areas? I'll be quick. And I got 2 major announcements on the back end of this, that today is the first day of announcing both of them. So you're going to want to hang out for that. I'm so excited, alumni. And anybody who's an alumni of Stage to Scale, just tell them about your experience. I'm so excited about the newest version, the 2022 version of Stage to Scale program that's been redesigned, recreated. It's out of this world. It has 8 exclusive live coaching sessions that begin next week. It's brand new curriculum that is exactly what you need in 2022. We got rid of the old versions of it, even the ones that we were just kept updating pieces of it. We completely shot it from the ground up in California. And it's coaching combined with the curriculum. Guys, in week 1, we get you so freaking clear in clarity that if you're a 0 to a 6, we're going to take you to a 7 to a 10. You're going to be so flipping clear on this. And you can go at your own speed. In weeks 2 and 3, I love what Caleb said. They got me so clear on my proprietary process. And now I've went from $100,000 company to multiple millions and 16 full-time employees just because we got him clear on his process. In weeks 2 and 3, we're going to take your talk. If it's not a 7, we're going to take your talk and your signature talk to a 7 to 10 and get that baby to be so confident that when you begin to share your story and track the amount of times you're seeing it, you're going to see growth just in this. This will become your greatest marketing tool. And then I love what Dr. Kaz says. I've paid for 3 high-priced coaches, but I've never received more valuable coaching than from Pete and Pat. The stage whisperer, but Pat Quinn is the signature maker, signature talk maker. This one's important because a lot of you had a deficit. You do not have killer products. You're not collecting enough leads, and you're not converting those leads into customers after you collect those leads. We're going to get you clear on your products. We're going to get you clear on your lead magnets so that when you're on stages, you can collect people's names. And we're going to get you clear on your follow-up systems so that when you're done with those stages, people will become customers of yours. We've been doing this for 20 years. You're going to have your perfect product suite and the follow-up campaign around it completed. And this section is one of the newest sections that is like all new training. Like all of this is brand new training. And then week 6 and 7, we're going to make sure that you find your dream stages. We build your campaign with you. And we create your supercharged. We're even going to help you with like your challenges and your online challenges and make sure that you understand how to conduct your own virtual event. We're going to make sure that you dominate stages. This was the lowest score out of every score that you put. This campaign will be built. Will be built. Now, guys, I love this. I had 17 people sign up for my first challenge. I had between 4 and 7 on the call. I sold 2 in my first group coaching of $19.97 or 3 payments of $739. I love that. And I love this woman. She's an amazing woman, Kim. So here's what you're getting. I want you to see this. Number 1, 8 weeks of group coaching. We've answered 5,290 questions in our group coaching. How many of you in our alumni have had one of your questions answered of having a roadblock or an obstacle? And we answered that question and we've documented the answering of all those questions, but we're doing 8 live coachings. We will not do this the rest of the year. We won't do this probably next year. We haven't done this in a long time in this capacity. And then you get lifetime access to the brand new curriculum, and you get that today. Now there's 3 critical things that my team wants to give you, and I think you guys are gonna love this. The first one is, why don't we help you one-on-one too? Like if I'm gonna put you in the Great American Speak Off, I gotta make sure you're good so you can advance. Do you know what serves us in the Great American Speak Off is if our students advance. You think that helps us more than if a non-student advances? Yeah, a lot, but we're not going to manipulate it. So we do a one-on-one call. We design your talk with you. After you've gone through weeks 2 and 3, this is you and a story coach with you. And then you shoot a 3-minute video and our coaching team gives feedback of how to improve it. That all happens. That's bonus number 1. Bonus number 2, one of the major announcements, and the other major announcement will be here in 3 minutes, but here's announcement number 1. I'm so excited. A Great American happening. Last time Grant did something, a business camp in Atlanta, 22,000 people, no, 30,000 people signed up for it. So you're saying it's going to be free to sign up? It is, but we're going to charge for guaranteed auditioning. And I believe as we start to charge for guaranteed auditioning, we won't be able to take many of the free folks because we can only audition 400 to 700 in one city. In one city. So for anybody that takes advantage of this today, you're guaranteed. And if you say, Pete, I can't make it to any of those cities, or I'm international, we're also going to do one virtual audition. One virtual audition. And you will be guaranteed in that virtual audition if you cannot make it to one of these cities. Come on, who's planning on auditioning with us? Like you guys said it. Who's planning? Like, come on, be committed to auditioning. Now some of you are like, no, I just want the free audition. You keep living in that mindset and see how it serves you. Like, see how it serves you. And the third thing, for my quick starters or my business owners who are in the momentum and scale bucket, I think you're going to love this. Pat Quinn said, how about next Thursday? I start with a quick start. Anybody ever read the Cliff Notes version of books in high school because you didn't want to read the whole book? Anybody? Was that just me? Pat, somebody said they already signed up. I haven't even freaking given a link, have I? How'd you sign up? Julie? Pat next week is going to do the few hour version where you can get the entire Stage to Scale Cliff Notes version next Thursday. So if you're like me, I'd love to have the Cliff Notes version and just have the curriculum on standby if I needed it. How many can appreciate a bonus like that? You'll get the whole Cliff Notes version of Stage to Scale next Thursday. So guys, that's what it is. Join stagetoscale.com. Join stagetoscale.com. It's $14,000 in total value. Hey, Stage to Scalers, alumni, would you put how much you have paid for Stage to Scale? Would you please put that in the chat? Look at that. Like, I wanted a screenshot to show thousands of these. And 20,000, Betty, you did not pay 20,000. You did not. I promise you did. Guys, I am so excited because for 6 years we have done this. For 6 years we have done this. This has been the price. And I believe it's worth. How much do you think that is worth? How much do you think the value of what is that actually worth? What would you pay for this? Like, I'm asking you that question. Real talk. What's that worth? Matt Boggs just said on my last webinar, it's worth $10,000. Denise says 25. Ann says 20. And so for the last 6 years, this is what we've charged. That's what we've charged. And 3.5 hours ago, for the first time ever, I heard God directly speak to me. We let our alumni get it for half off. We always do. But we've never let first-time customers get it. And I clearly heard God say, voice message the team and throw them a curveball, but tell them that we've got to make changes on the pages because for the first time ever in 6 years, we are allowing you to step into this for $997 or 6 payments of $197. I mean, y'all could give some love for that. Like, I mean, golly, y'all can give a little bit of love for that. Give a little love for that. Why? Because times are tough. A recession is upon us. Problems are greater. And I need 2 times the amount of customers in order to get more messages out to the world. And 2 times more people will step into it if I charge half the price. And so I want to tell you guys this. This isn't ever been done in 6 years. You saw that in the chat. And I'm only going to do it for the first 100 people. And from our last webinar, we're going to be halfway there in the next day or so. And we'll probably be full in the next day or so. I'm going to do this for 100 people. Why 100? Because I want 100 people who are committed. You already got the answer in your heart. You already got a confirmation or not. Like, I get praying on things because I pray on things, but when I have a piece, I move in it. I don't let my scarcity mindset get in the way. So this is for 100 people. Let me tell you, I have to give you some tactical things because I never have to do this because I made this decision 3 hours ago. When you go to joinstagetoscale.com, you're going to see this thing that says have a coupon code. Click here to enter your code. If you're doing a 1 pay, your code is POWER1. If you're doing the 6 pay, your code is POWER6. Write that down. POWER1, POWER6, all capitalized. I hope you guys can appreciate this because it's never been done. Hey, alumni, I know you're there because there's a lot of you here today. I want to make sure that you get you will get a 400. We'll be able to see which alumni come in. You will get a $400 credit that you can use in other places with us. I want to give you additional credit of $400 that you could use for a live event or a workshop or some other things that we're rolling out. And so we'll do that. So I just want you to know, alumni, I see you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. But this is something that I felt called to do. And you know this because you've been with me for 3 or 4 or 5 years. I've never done this because I feel like this is worth $10,000. And now we're opening it up in a way for people to get it for this. So just click that button, put your code in, put whatever code in that you want to use, and get that done. This is for 100 people and 100 people only. Last thing I'll say before I open it up for some Q&A. Here's some of our alumni. Roger Wakefield, the plumber. He's got one of the most powerful plumber stories, and he is an alumni. Our musician who said, I've spent $25,000 on masterminds, but the value that came from this program blew that away. Or Daryl Stinson, I love this guy. Within the first 2 weeks of going through the course, I had more results than I had in a year and a half, because it works. Because it works. Wow, look who shows up here. Because it works. You say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Say stage to scale.
Stage.
Say stage.
Da.
Nope, no stage to scale. She's not a good helper there. She's been knocking on the door. That's part of real life here. Some of you are like, I'm going to wait a year. I'm going to do this on my own. Is 2 weeks versus a year and a half worth it to you? Time is the only thing you don't get back. I've never read that testimonial like that. And I had no idea this was possible in 8 weeks. 8 weeks, guys. We have the most precedent. Look at what the results from this one program are. 350,000 stages booked, 7 to 10 times greater completion rate than industry standard because we give you group coaching and a one-on-one call. 96% retention rate, thousands of students in 46 countries, 5,200 questions archived that you have the archive to all of these questions and the timestamp of where they were answered in the course. 99% leave clear on the problem they solve. 90% leave with their signature talk written, and 70% know the stages they're going after and they're winning them. So I want to encourage you today to take advantage of this. Go to joinstagetoscale.com, joinstagetoscale.com, put the right promo code, and watch what begins to happen. Like, this is the methodology. This is the methodology that gets results. And now we're rolling out something that we've never had. Whether it's our full-time employee who was trying to help women in technology, and she was trying to replace her full-time income. And within 6 months, she replaced her full-time income as someone who was trying to start a business, which is many of you. Or it's Chandler Bolt, whose business had come to a halt. And he was doing a few $1 million, but he wanted to do more and he needed some momentum. And he did this. And he said, with the few hours left in 2018, we just passed $1 million in revenues generated from speaking on stages. In 17, we generated zero. He all of a sudden found a new customer acquisition channel as a business trying to get more momentum. Or Michael Hyatt saying, Pete and Pat are letting me scale my business to another level, and I'm now actually taking stages. Like Pat asked you a question. He asked you if you're committed. You're going to show me your commitment in one of two ways. That you actually take action out of today and you recognize the importance of your flipping story being out there on a bigger scale. I started this with everybody has a story. Not everybody can dance. Not everybody can sing. But everybody has a story. My question is, are you committed to that? Are you committed to that? So PQ, as we go to Q&A, I want to encourage them, go to joinstagetoscale.com. I want to take some questions. I'm going to hang out. You want to put your hands up? I'm going to take some questions tonight. I know we've been going for a while, but I haven't done a training in a long time. This is the half price is reserved for 100 folks. And then what will transition is that code. You might see the code not work tomorrow. You might not see it work tonight. We got over close to 1,000 people that are watching this, and this replay is being sent out tonight. So the 100 people, I didn't want to make it 10 or 20. I wanted to make it a real number. And I can tell you we're well on our way to that. So take advantage of this. Take advantage of this and let us help you transform your life. So PQ, anything you want to say before we take questions? We still got 600-700 people with us here today. Any questions?
Yeah, I encourage people to ask questions. I just want to say, if you're sitting out there and you know that you have a message that could help other people, you know that you have life experience and things have happened to you and you've learned things that could help other people, this is the way to turn that potential into real impact. This is the way to take it from a dream to a reality, from a struggling business to a successful business. from something that your spouse looks at kind of with side eyes, like, that's not really a business, to something that they tell everybody about. This is 8 weeks that will not only change your life, it will impact the lives of others. And I can't wait for these 8 weeks. We're going to transform so many businesses, grow so many businesses. Somebody asked, are you going to teach us how to win stages? You betcha. We're going to teach you how to get clarity and get you clarity. We're going to have a signature talk built. This 8 weeks is going to change everything step by step through the stage to scale method.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. I love that. Jennifer, don't wait till after your launch. Like, don't wait. I mean, I would do it right now. Hey guys, I want to raise some hands. Let's get some hands up, some Zoom hands up in the air, Zoom hands. A couple of things that are technical. Some of you are because so many people go and process it, sometimes you have to reload it and push refresh to enter the code. So continue to do that, because I want to make sure that you are one of the first 100. That is a real number. So the team's got everything in the chat. How is this going to transpire? This question got brought up a lot last time. Either 100 or till Tuesday, we will keep the price where it's at, whatever comes first. And then on Tuesday, the price could go back up to a couple of $1,000s for those people who are stragglers. And I'm telling you that, that will happen. And then Tuesday, we're officially closing this off. On Thursday next week, Pat will do the fast start, the Cliff Notes version. And then every Thursday there on out will be live coaching with the module that is being released that week. You can go at your own pace. And if you're not there for the live coaching, you will get the replays and the curriculum lifetime access. The other thing, people ask, when should I do my one-on-one signature talk design session? I want to encourage you to do it after weeks 2 and 3 so that you can do some of the work on your SIG talk, and you can take that to your one-on-one coaching session. That's one-on-one coaching with one of our story coaches. And not only do they coach you on your talk, they have you shoot it and you get some feedback on it too. That's profound. So that's the rhythm. And then I want you prepared. We will get you to be able to register. You will be the first people to get to register for the cities and guarantee audition. And not just guarantee audition, but make sure you're ready to audition so you knock it out of the park. So go to joinstagetoscale.com. Make sure you do Power 1 as the code if you're 1 paying, or Power 6 if you're 6 paying. Hey, let's go to Danielle. And let's have a conversation for sure. And guys, let's ask some questions. Let me give you some perspective here. Tomorrow, somebody is with me, and I don't say this with arrogance. Somebody is with me to pick my brain, but I don't do picking the brain for free anymore. It just so happens that a day is worth 100,000. So if you guys have questions for 30 to 60 minutes, what's 1/8 of 100,000, Pat? You're getting $12,500, plus you got Pat over there. Look at this as coaching time for you. So let's get some questions so we can help you. So Danielle, let's start you off.
Okay, so Pete and Pat, no machete. I was with you stage to scale fall and graduated, but I wasn't ready. I just started my journey. And I don't know if you remember me, but I had a stroke. And I have a hard time on stage. Not because I get nervous, because I tie up those words. Now, I've been doing virtual events, challenges, right? Pete, you and I cross over in Dean's world, right? A lot. And I did what I said I would do, and I launched my products. But I want those stages, and it's my time. And I need that help. And I also have an academy that I'm running, right? Talk about going to scale. Just tell me the live parts. I'm not worried about the stuff I do on my own. The live parts, when is it? I'm trying to sign up right now, but what times or days?
Man, I love that. Hey, listen, I'm also sorry. When I saw you on here, there's people you see on here that just light your heart up because you know who they are. I know we haven't gotten to see each other the last few years, but I feel like I've seen Walt multiple times. Walt, I love your face, and I love cameras turned on. Jacqueline is a beautiful human. James, I remember you being at Reach Live, my friend, and I remember doing the walk the line activity with you, my buddy. And same here. I'm sorry with what you're going through. There's something that's getting in the way with you right now that we've got to, I'm glad you've launched your product, which that's huge, but now it's time to make sure that you're getting on stages. And listen, we have got this down to a science and an art. And so I would tell you, don't miss week 6 and 7, because that's where we're going to be going through that in detail. But Pat, can you talk about the time and maybe the rhythm? I don't know if I did a great job of explaining the rhythm, Pat. And people are telling you to smile, Pat.
You might be missing the machete, but now he's not smiling at us.
I'm smiling. I was looking around for my machete. The rhythm, it's going to start next Thursday, and then we're going to spend 1 week for each module going through it on the live coaching. Coaching calls are on Thursday. And so we like them. We like the coaching calls later in the week, so you have a chance to work on it and have your questions ready. In those coaching calls, we're going to answer questions. We're going to speak directly into your business. We're going to help you with your individual issues. It's going to be an amazing 8 weeks as we walk you step by step through the process. I just want to encourage you that this is the right time. This is the time for you to do it. And I'm just so glad that you're on tonight.
What time, Pat?
They're going to be at
my academy if I have to. What time?
Well, they're recorded. So if you can't make the time that they're there,
hell no.
You get the recordings of them. They're at 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern time.
There you go, guys.
Perfect. Okay.
There we go. Hey, Richard, I see that you were charged. You didn't put, some people don't put the code in. Richard, we'll take care of that. Don't worry. The team will take care of that. Guys, y'all see Richard's name, his email, and my team will take care of you. You know, what metric, I'm going to teach you something right now that you staying around. There's 2 metrics that really matter in your business. What was the first one that I told you? And Mary and Amy, I'll get to you. But what was the first metric I told you matters in your business? What should you be tracking? How many times you're telling your story and giving your talk? I don't care if that means 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, or an official talk on a stage. Track how many times you're keeping your talk. Here's the other thing you need to track. Track your NPS score. If you know what NPS score means, say, yes, I know. N as in Nancy. Now, I don't knows. Bhavesh, I know my buddy knows it. Is there a problem that like 5 people only know that? It's because internet marketers and online folks don't care about an NPS score. An NPS score is a net promoter score. When you've delivered a product or service to any of your customers, I want you to actually ask them on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, how likely are you to refer this to your friends and family? And the biggest brands in the world are hoping for a 60 to 70 or a 6 or 7 out of 10. Because if they can get a net promoter score of 6 to 10, it helps them immensely. It's a great thing to track. Nobody in our industry, very few people, less than 5% of the people that we know, 5% track that. We track that on every product or service. And let me tell you, there's a product or 2 that we've had 7s or 8s. The net promoter score on stage to scale is 9.6 or 96. And I see my customer service people doing this because that's something to be proud of. So a talk brings customers into your world, but you also need to serve them powerfully and profoundly. We've gotten rid of products because the NPS score, we couldn't figure out like the results, but that's very few. But one of the things you want to track is not just how many times you're sharing your talk, which you're about to take it to a whole nother level, but your net promoter score as well. Some more coaching from you. Like I'll talk to that about with the lady tomorrow who's with me, and I'm excited for her to be with me. Mary Williams. Hey, and a few other people are saying, hey, it's timing out. Just keep refreshing. That's because a lot of people, I put the code and was accepted. It showed $9.97, but it still charged $19.97. Guys, we need to make sure, team, that everything's okay. You got to push submit. Like we just had a lot of people register for this on the webinar that we did earlier today, and they were all $9.97s. So one, if it's $19.97, don't worry, we will correct it, and you will get a call from us that's saying it's corrected. So just know that. And number 2, if it's timing out, just refresh it. and it's saying the page won't load. So guys, I want to make sure if you want to put your phone number, I've got an incredible customer service team here with us. So let's ask Mary Williams her question.
So I really want to thank you, Pete and Pat, because for those of you that are just starting out, a year ago, I started in with this program and with the accelerator, and it's changed my world. I wish that I could say that I'm great with stages. The problem is standing in front of a camera and videotaping myself. That's the hard part. And so if you have any hints for that, that'd be lovely.
PQ.
I mean, I wish that I had this experience 5 years ago. It's just been wonderful for me, and I've been working with Holly Jean the last 8 weeks, and it's made a big difference. And so, but anyway, yeah, that's my really stumbling block.
Hey, Mary, I love the fact that you've narrowed down what you're working on and what you really need help with. Here's something that we do and something that I advise everybody to do, because you're not alone. There's a number of people I know who love to be in front of people, but the moment that camera comes on, everything in your brain just turns to mush, and you don't talk like you normally talk, and you're not as friendly or energetic as you usually are. So here's what I would recommend. Have live people in the room with you. When, you can have 3 or 4 people in the room, you can have 30 or 40 people in the room and still have a camera in front of you. Just ignore the camera and talk to the people. And the other thing I try to do is to make sure I have the faces of the people in front of me. You can see when you get some of the shots of Pete that tonight, Pete's got all of your faces right in front of him. He's not talking to a camera. He's talking to you, Mary, and you, Julianne, and you, Jesse, and you, Robert Baker, and you, Pamela Hyde, and you, Richard. He's talking to you. So I don't want to say he's ignoring the camera, because he knows where to look,
Turn the camera
but
off.
he's not talking to the camera. He's talking to the faces.
Can you bring this over?
And he's talking to the people. So when we recorded, the digital part of the curriculum, we did it live with an audience so that we could talk right to people and answer questions right from people. It changes the way you speak. You're much more energetic. It does the whole thing.
Okay. Well, thank you. And then how do you get involved with the whole, the 100 audition piece? I guess I missed that because my iPad died, but anyway.
They're going to drop the link in the chat right now. You can sign up for Stage to Scale using the coupon code POWER1 for 1 pay, POWER6 for the 6 pay. And if you do that today, you're going to be hopefully in the first 100, and you'll be guaranteed an audition.
All right, great. Thanks.
You bet.
Hey guys, I want to address it. There's lots of people saying, hey, third time was a charm. Other people saying I got charged a full amount. And then other people saying, no, I got charged $997. Remember, I made this decision like 3.5 hours ago, and I put it on my team to figure out the solution really quickly. So I just want to make sure you guys have a little grace on that. And no, like Miranda and Claire and Pat, I'm asking not only that we handle it, but we give them a phone call or a text and say, you're good and it's taken care of. I want them to see how we show up so that they have no issues and no worries at all. So that's covered. That's good. But I want you to see, can you do this for me right now? Like, I want you to see what I look at right here. Where am I at? Can you see me looking at you? Like, bring me up. I don't see me. I want to see what you see how I can see you guys? Like, that's what I see. I see Lisa, I see Jacqueline, I see Amy waving, I see Dr. Marcia, I see Dawn, I see Lori, I see Donna, Nambo, is it Nambo? Nambo? Greg's returning some emails. Like, I can see you guys. So when you speak to a camera, here's 2 pieces of advice. Let's go back to me up here. 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, I want the people in front of me so I can see them. And number 2, sometimes when I don't have a crowd and I'm shooting a video, here is a secret. This one will change the game for you. Remember I told you I launched the mastermind and I filled it in less than 3 months? I ran no ads. I sent no emails. I did no advertising. I did no events. I did a couple of stages and 1 video. And when I shot the video, I actually saw the faces of the people that I knew that they needed to be in it. And I spoke to the camera as those I was looking at just then. If you can see, Robert, if you can see like an ideal customer of yours that you love and you care for, and you can see them in your camera, like not literally, but mentally, like actually see a human being. And then I'm not seeing the camera that's in front of me or the iPhone that's in front of me. I'm seeing a human being. I might not physically see them, but if I can see them in my heart, I can see them in my mind, that video will relate to anybody who watches it. I want to tell you, check this out. I love that question she just asked. I shot a 20-minute video and I shared my vision behind, I shared my signature talk. And I shot that video to 12 people, 15 people. And half of those people who got it, number one, said, I'm in. And then they asked if they could forward that video to other people. That video got forwarded to about 120 different 7, 8, and 9-figure Christian business owners. My signature talk through that video, I'm going behind the scenes now, and through 2 stages, filled a mastermind with 55 founding members that either invested $35,000 or $45,000. A lot of people you would know. A lot of people you would know. Excited. Pastor Darius Daniels, Anthony O'Neill, Jennifer Allwood, John Gordon, Ed Milet. Like, we complicate this thing. We complicate it. And what the stage to scale methodology does is it simplifies it. Get clear on the problem you want to solve. Weeks 1. I want to bring 7, 8, 9-figure Christian business owners together so they can be in community. And I want to help them grow in their faith, in their finances, in their relationships, in their health, and in their business. Communicate that using the StoryBraid framework. I got to do it in 20 minutes because they don't have a lot of time. Get that out on the stages. Okay, it took it to 2 stages. And make sure I have products and services. In this case, I only had 1 product. 55 founding members. That's exactly what I did the last 3 months. And in 2 weeks, those 55 founding members are here with me at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. Like, can you see me what we just taught you? That I just did that. Like, not many people can do something like that with all of the other things that folks are teaching them. And I'm not saying you're going to go create a multiple 7-figure business, because that's what I just did. But I will tell you, my wife went and created a 6-figure business doing the same thing. She didn't have the reach or the connections or the people or the contacts like me, but she still created a 6-figure business. Clarity, communication, products and services, stages. Like, that is the sweet spot. And yes, Kim is so sweet and so beautiful. And I just celebrated 20 years with her July 4th of this year. So, but I want you to know that that's the journey you're about to go through. And by the way, you're getting the updated curriculum. You're getting 8 weeks of coaching. You're getting a one-on-one signature talk design session, one-on-one with you. You're getting a guaranteed audition on the Great American Speak Off. And you're getting a fast start with Pat Quinn, so you get the Cliff Notes version. And what I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a bold statement. And I think you would agree with me. Agree or disagree? Any 5 of those are worth $997. Any single one of those 5 is worth the investment. But you get all 5 of them. Indeed, any of them. So make sure you go to joinstagetoscale.com. Let's bring Amy Day up. Before that, I just love to recognize action takers. So Krista E, Jacqueline Ortiz, Mark Reese, Gina Seeley, Jason Newmock, Marvin Hall, Marilyn Feinstein, Judy Gibbon, Stephanie R, Esfanina, Sherry Gray, Jody Flemons, Sherry Bergner, Greg Moyer, Robert Goodwin, AV, Jason Pringles, Lisa Tan, Norma C, Rebecca, Connie, Noelle, Nicola, Kristen, Ronald, Beverly, Holly, James, Sherilyn, my boy Bavesh, Manak, Elise, Celia, Carolyn, Arlen, Stacy, Robert, Ron, Nate, Todd, Kiana, Shannon, Kathy, Amy. Congratulations. Guys, those 100 spots are going to could possibly be gone tonight. I thought it would get till Friday or Saturday, but they could be gone today or tomorrow. I do a webinar tomorrow morning with Michael Hyatt at 9 a.m. So my community, I wanted to put this before the Michael Hyatt deal, because last time Michael and I did something big, he was responsible for 150 people stepping into Stage to Scale just himself. So like, take that action tonight in yourself. Amy, let's go.
Yeah. Hi. First, I want to just say thank you for your generosity. And it's a great exercise in trust, like the refresh and all the craziness. I just think it's really fantastic that you're so generous. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm an alumni of the old course. And I think it was Danielle earlier. It's like, it would just kind of was the wrong timing, and COVID hit and all of those things. And what I've realized during this time is the place I get stuck is actually why I said yes. So I get stuck because I run a nonprofit that I founded, and I have a huge mission, because there's a better way for people to make decisions in their lives to get more of what they want, and nobody's teaching it and nobody's doing it. And it just seems so big to me that where I bog down is on the clarity, right? I've tested with a whole bunch of populations. I've done youth, and then things shut down because of COVID. So then I shifted to adults, and like emerging adults, and then their parents or caregivers, like the people who are mentoring people into becoming human being adults, so they can be practicing real decision-making in a powerful way. It just seems so big. I get bogged down at like, who am I serving? And just that clarity. And I feel like I've narrowed it so much in 3 years, but I still am not clear. And I just want your best wisdom about how to get clear, because it's such a big mission. It's like, it solves global warming. It solves whatever you want, whatever the issue is that somebody cares about. It's that big. So I'd love your wisdom.
Thank you. PQ, you want to start there?
Yeah, I think, one of the things we talk about a lot is what's the problem that you solve. And when you have that problem that you solve, oftentimes there's multiple audiences that you can solve it for. You recognize that the problem that you solve can be solved for youth, can be solved for caregivers, can be solved for all these different audiences. And my encouragement, after you've thrown everything against the wall to see what sticks, is just to pick one and commit to it, immerse, and then specialize in it. Specialize in their language, specialize in their problems, specialize at their events, on their stages, in their communities. And so I think when you're trying to do them all, everybody looks at you like, oh, you're trying to do this for everybody. But if you would just say, I solved this problem for nurses, like you'd become the go-to person for nurses. Or I solved this problem for caregivers. I think caregivers, first responders are great people to solve this problem for. My advice would just be to pick one and work on it commit to it for 6 months, join all their Facebook groups, become part of their community, attend their events, even if you can't speak at their events, listen to their podcast, but be on their podcast, but pick one. I think some people try to do it for everybody, and that not only doesn't make you viewed as a specialist, it actually makes people confused about what you do and how you do it. So I would look at those and say, okay, and you say it's a nonprofit. If you don't need to make money, then it won't be a consideration. For those of us who have a business that needs to make money, you also want to kind of evaluate, do these people have the means to pay for my services? And that's another consideration. But my best advice when you have multiple audiences like that is pick one and commit to it for 6 months. Immerse yourselves in their community. And I think you're going to see more traction that way.
Yeah, Amy, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, and I want to make sure we're going to get through questions. Amy, I'll let you have one kind of feedback round here, because I'm going to tell you the same thing. I work for Rachel's Challenge, and Daryl is like, we can go solve safety issues for every arena. We can go help schools. We can go help businesses. We can go help churches. We can go help this. We can go help that. And when I got in there, I had to get really, really clear with him on saying, no, we help schools. and we got clear on schools. And then the stages that had school leaders on them started inviting us. They weren't inviting us before we really got clear on that. And then the school leaders began to invest in the programs, and the donors began to invest in the donations because they were clear that they were underwriting a school. It wasn't nebulous of what am I underwriting? And so I had to get them clear on starting that. Now, the beautiful thing is we then went to businesses, and then we went to churches, but we had to start with one. And it's the same problem that I had when Brendan Bouchard asked me the question, who do you serve? After working with Rachel's Challenge, I'm like, I can help nonprofits. I can help education speakers. I can help speakers. I can help. And no. So I just started saying, no, I help speakers actually build a business. And then I got clear. And it's like, cool, I can go help financial advisors. Then I could go help health coaches. But as I established myself one place first, the rest of the doors began to open up. Does that make sense?
Totally. So pick one. If it's moms of emerging adults who are stuck,
Yes.
lie awake all night, like pick something. And it sounds like pick something that's in my journey, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like
yes. And I wouldn't
God
call it
put
your
me
journey.
Here in my journey, right? What do I have
I wouldn't call it journey. I'd call it the low-hanging fruit for you. So why would you go start somewhere else? I didn't start with financial advisors as my market. I started with educational speakers. Why? Because I had helped an educational organization grow their brand. So if you ask Pat, out of the 27 people who were at my first event, 50 to 70% of them were educational speakers because I spoke in their language. And Stages was the vehicle. You have the vehicle, but educational speakers was who I spoke to. So I could then speak to their problem instead of trying to generically speak to everybody's problem. So as I spoke to educational speakers, they started coming into my world. And then I went and took Stages to financial advisors and network marketers and health and wellness experts, now lawyers, but I can now speak their language. And that's what's happening with you. Guys, that's a massive breakthrough right there.
Thank you.
Like that's massive. Hey, yeah, Cody, you see that? That's the demonstration of what happens on Thursdays. Like you guys need to know that. That's the demonstration of what happens on Thursdays. That's the demonstration. She's been stuck with that one thing for a long time. Let's get her unstuck. Let's get her unstuck. Let's go to Dawn. Let's go to Dawn. Dawn, are you there?
Oh, you were unmuted for a second. Can you do that again?
There we go,
you go.
Dawn.
It's not. Okay. Hey, so I have a question. I attended the Stage to Scale May. So I'm wondering what's the difference with this one, if you could just be clear on that so I can sign up.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of differences. The biggest difference has to do with the speak off, Dawn. The biggest difference has to do with the speak off. So remember, you're going to get like a credit as well. Like our alumni will get a credit. So the biggest thing is the speak off, the live coaching, the one-on-one. Your curriculum, full transparency, you were the first one in May to get the new curriculum because remember, we shot the curriculum in April. So this curriculum is brand new. So there are those few pieces of differences right there, Dawn. Cool. Love it, girl. Hey, Debbie, somebody said, my son said I'm famous. He called my name. I want to make you famous because I love people who take action. Debbie, Jorge, Victoria, Anita, Joseph, Frank, Renisha, Mark, Raphael, Danusha, Mindy, David, Renee, Robert, Marcos, Irene, Raul, Michael, Lisi, Danielle Maurer, I see you, Tony M, UMW, Elizabeth J. Congratulations and welcome to this August class of Stage to Scale. You will soon, in 8 short weeks, be alumni. Lori Hughes, you will get onboarded, Krista. Don't worry, we'll be onboarding you and you will start getting welcomed. Hi, Lori.
Hi, this has been wonderful. So
Good.
I've had a photography studio for 30 years. And in the last couple of years, I've written a book and I'm launching a author and speaking business so I can move out of one into another. And I have one book, Choose Zoe. It's a pro-abundant life book. And I'm kind of wondering, I also am writing on ending online sexual exploitation of children and trafficking. And so I'm kind of wondering how your program works with social justice causes, the success rate of maybe stages, primarily now. Well, I've been on some incredible shows. Like 2 weeks ago, I was on 700 Club, and I'm landing some good gigs because I know how to hustle, and I know how to market, and I know how to get my own advertisement when some people want to silence my message because it's a pro-life message, pro-love message, also on abortion healing, just so many social justice causes. And so
let me speak to that. So social justices are obviously big in our world today. Rachel's Challenge would be considered one of those. Like, that's what they would be considered. Like, I'm with Tim Tebow and his organization here in a few weeks. They help fight sex trafficking. And I think one of the most important things that you can do is, I'm just going to tell you, when Grant Cardone said he left hundreds of millions of dollars on the table, it's because he had opportunities like, not like this one, but like the 700 Club, or where words were coming out of his mouth. And he's like, I could have brought so many more people into my world if I had done it well. I remember the one shot we got with Oprah. And I remember 15,000 or 20,000 leads coming in from that show. I was like, yes, incredible. So one of the biggest places is how you communicate. We believe that you communicate to move an audience, make their lives better in your talk, and out of that, they will convert. And so there's like 10 or 15 things that will get layered into your signature talk that if you miss any of them, it makes an impact on your conversion, and you don't have to feel salesy, slimy, or sleazy. Like, I just want to give you a stat, guys. I sold a program today, and about 95 to 97% of the people stayed from the beginning till the end. And then as we talk about the offer, 10 to 15% leave just because they have a mindset of scarcity. Like, that's really what it is. If they're smart, you stay for the offer. Even if you don't buy, you stay for the offer. Why do you think I would stay? Why do you think I stay for every offer, guys? Like, write that in the chat. Why do you think I stay for every offer? Even if the program might not resonate with me or align with me, I stay for every offer to learn how they do it. To learn how they do it. Or to learn pieces that can make me better. But here's something nobody can say that they did not get served, because 95 to 97% of people would not have stayed through the entire teaching today if they weren't served. Lots of people have 20 or 30% drop off because it's like, dude, you're just teasing me. You're not teaching me. And so what are we going to do? We're going to help you begin to convert more with this opportunity and this social cause that you're passionate about. You're going to be able to convert more. Just modules 1, 2, and 3 will be game changer. But then we've got to make sure that you might have to productize some things. You might not have enough productizing. You might just be relying only on, so the program has served so many social causes, including the Grant Cardone Foundation and so many others. So Lori, you're going to be in the right place here. Thank you. Dr. Marcia. Dr. Hunter.
Yes. Okay.
Hi there.
How are you? I tried to register, but it wouldn't take my card. And I tried 2 cards, and I know there was more than enough money. But I was thinking I'm in another program. Could that have been a reason?
No, I'll tell you what, why don't you drop your phone, and then the team, hey, Jess, I want to make sure that we're following up, but the team will connect with you and make sure that they help you, Dr. Hunter. They'll take care of you.
I did put my phone number in the chat.
Hey team, can we make sure and help her? I'm looking here, we're not to the 100, but we're definitely going to hit it sooner than what I thought. So I will make sure that they follow up with you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm so excited. Miss
Hey,
Robinson.
Pete, we're collecting all that information in the chat, and we are reaching out to people as we're going through them. So if you put it in the chat, we've definitely seen it. We will get you taken care of.
Awesome. Hey, Teresa Brander says, this is program for those who do not have a product yet. I actually think those are people who are needing the program more than, if you don't have a product or you don't have a talk, you're in some trouble right now. Like, if there's any of these 3 pieces missing, your talk's not dialed in, your product's not dialed in, or your stage strategy's not dialed in, that one module of talk, product, or stages will serve you. So if you're like, dude, I've got so many stages, but I don't have products, which is a lot of professional speakers. Yes, you've got to get some products, and we're going to help you in weeks 4 and 5 get your first product established, your first product. Mrs. Robinson, how are you?
Muted. That's how you are. There you
How
go.
are you tonight? I'm doing great. Thank you. I just wanted to ask a question. I took the Advanced You Reach. I'm in the program, and I must have come a long way from 2 years ago after losing 4 people in a 3-month period. So I'm
sorry.
helping my target audience is helping people deal with grief. And I do have 4,000 people in my group in Facebook. I have sold though to people external to that group. Like I've made, I've sold several spots, but I'm having a hard time turning them over, the people in my group, that audience. So I do have all the different scales, like the different scales of the programs, but I just finding that a lot of people say they don't have money. And like yesterday, I met one-to-one with a senior citizen. He's 88 years old. And I just couldn't sell it to him. Like my heart just bled for him. So I just gave him everything for free because I felt so sorry for him. He's on a limited budget. And this is where I kind of like have a hard time, especially with the work that I do, because I have a very soft heart. And because I know I was there, and I was really in a dark space for a while, but I had the money to invest in programs for myself to heal faster, to go faster. But when I find that there's people that really need a lot of help, like, I don't know if you know about.
So let me chime in because I want to get to a lot of questions.
Okay.
So let me chime in. Like, I feel like a little bit of your mindset still has a hard time charging. And listen, there are people out there that are dealing with grief. Let me just be really clear. There are people out there that are dealing with grief that if you could help them navigate it, they would pay you $10,000, they would pay you $2,000, or they'd pay you $500.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that fall into all 3 of those buckets. So there's 3 issues that you're facing. Number 1, a product suite issue. You have to have a diversified product suite. So when you talk to this nice man who might have limited budgets, you have a $2,000 product to be able to put him in that can help serve him, that doesn't take up your time, but might be a course. Or you have a $2,000 product that has some group coaching that's attached to it. Or you have a $10,000 product that's a one-on-one product. My wife is producing legacy videos for people who are in like their elder ages so that their family has that to hold on to. She's charging $10,000 and $15,000 for that. Now, are there going to be people who can't afford that? Yes. But you have to go find the people that can, and there are people that can. So you have a product suite issue, you have a signature talk issue, and then you also have a mindset a little bit. Like, I think there's some mindset that we got to break through, because I need you to understand there's people who have grief that can afford any of those levels. It's you that's getting in the way of them thinking that they can. And so that's what I would say to you. Pat, anything you would add? Because I want to get through all these questions.
Yeah, I would just make sure the people the 4,000 people in your community might feel like they're already getting what you're selling. And maybe you just need to make some adjustment to your product suite so it's clearly differentiated from what they get just being part of your community. So I think a good hard look at your product suite might be the solution here, Lise.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I do too, Lise. Thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with that. That will help a lot of people. Let's go with Todd Schuler.
Hey,
what's
Pete?
Up, man?
Hey, man, I've actually been tracking both of you guys with multiple platforms, with Grant and with Roland and some of the others. Here's my story. So I actually became a Grant Cardone certified guy with him right before COVID hit. I've written two business books and 2 faith books. I'm a bivocational pastor. And I had a situation where I was able to speak at a Black CEO event that was seen by almost 60,000 people. Wow. I put together my talk, I put together my offering, and and I did this and it got a lot of great reviews, but I didn't get any conversion out of it at all, man. It just crushed me. And then I wound up losing my 6-figure income job, man. So all those things kind of happened. So I'm like, how do I put this all together? Because I'm obviously missing something, you know what I'm saying? And I just want to kind of get it's like, how do I finally put it all together? Because I've made millions for others in my job as a management consultant with Deloitte and all the big guys, but how do I bring that home to make it happen for me and this thing God has in my heart to bless the world with?
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened is you had a talk issue.
Okay.
You 100% had a talk issue. Now, listen, I know a lot of people who deliver great talks that don't see customers come into their world. And quite frankly, if our measuring stick is we won't ever change their lives with our talk, we'll change our lives with their products and services. Can you guys begin to see that you have a moral obligation to make sure that they step into your products and services? Yeah. Does everybody see that? Yeah. You have a moral obligation. Zig Ziglar realized late in life that 99% of the people that he was touching, it was because they were in his products and services. And only 1% was because of his talk. He knew that if he didn't get his products and services in their hands, the likelihood of them going to the next level and leveling up was almost 0 to none. I mean, it's very minimal. Like out of every 100 people here today that don't take action, one of them probably either they're really successful already or one of them is going to actually make it happen. Like that's real numbers. I'm not giving you like fake numbers. That's not to like twist somebody's arm to say you better take action. Those are real numbers. Yeah. Because 99% of his people said that. So what happened is you got the stage, you got the dream stage, but your talk was somehow did not connect where they felt like I've got to go deeper with him. I'm not saying your talk was bad. I'm just saying you missed it with your talk. Pat, what would you add to that? I'm sure you saw the same thing with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuanced things that could cause this to happen, Todd. One of the problems I think is sometimes the speaker is getting bad feedback. Sometimes the audience is really laughing or they clap and give you a standing ovation, but they don't buy. And we can look at the talk and see why that happens. There's, we help people insert things into their talk that guarantee that doesn't happen. But I agree with you, Pete. This is a clear case, and it's possible they loved the talk, but that doesn't mean they want to take the next step with you. So it's probably in the structure of the talk there that we can adjust and make that better for you.
And by the way, it was a digital. I'm sorry, it was a digital stage, so we had to pre-record the talk and submit it to a guy who syndicated it. And so that was the other.
Well, the beauty of the 4-part story breaks, it's always easier with a live audience where you can see them and they can see you and you can give them feedback. And I can say, hey, Todd, and hey, Julie, and hey, Lise, and hey, Amy. That's always easier. But even in a pre-recorded talk, if it's structured correctly, we should have a higher conversion than you saw in that situation.
Hey, Todd, unmute Todd. Todd, are you a customer of ours? Yes, you are?
I am, yeah.
Oh, good. I just want to make sure we're able to serve you, bro, because I know you got something big in your heart, man. So I just wanted to ask that. Jacqueline, great to see you. I love you. And I'm so grateful for the impact you're making in this world. Guys, can we unmute Jacqueline?
Oh, let me unmute. Is it?
Yep, we can hear you now.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, God. I'm so happy to be here. And it looks like somehow God brought me to you for a reason, because I have been thinking of this. You know that I was in this session in the program last year, and then I had a stroke, and that was my second stroke. Pat brought me back in, and he said, because when I had a stroke, it wiped out my memory. I got out of it and I couldn't remember. I didn't remember anything. I couldn't see very well. I couldn't write, and I couldn't even read. But I came in, and Pat said to me, "Come back in and go back to I'll start over the signature talk." And to me, I just wanted to be there and be with people because that's what I was missing so much. So I went to Signature Talk, and gradually I was building my memory because everything that they were saying, I couldn't remember the next second. I couldn't remember anything. But as of today, a year after, my memory is back. I'm I can say I'm a full person now. And I was thinking, oh no, now I have my memory. I did everything, but I didn't know what I was doing. How can I be successful with my business now that I'm a full person? I started the business. I have my signature talk. I did that and I sent it to Pat, and he even approved it. But I wasn't satisfied with what I did because I didn't feel like my heart. So I was thinking, how can I do this? But God answered my prayer. I already registered and I'm here, and I know that now I will succeed. So thank you very much.
I love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Jorge, how about you? I want to knock out. Hey guys, if you have a question with these last few, I want to get to them all. And we're going to knock out these last few. The hands that are up, we're going to cover them, and then we're going to be done and let you guys go. So make sure the team lets me know we're getting close to 100. So make sure you go to joinstagetoscale.com and take advantage of that, guys. It's $997 or 6 payments of $197. Jorge, what's your question, my friend?
Well, first of all, thank you for staying this long with us and allowing us to hear everything that everybody's been asking and the answers that you've been giving. It's helped me a lot to assure me that I think I've made the right decision. I believe I have. I published this book here behind me. It says Answer the Call. At the midst of the COVID, it was whispered to me. I was called to do it. And my passion is to share the message and the meaning behind it and the stories of my book. And I know being on stage is the answer. And you somehow came into my vicinity of the universe. And I'm just excited. And I'm hoping that, and I'm trusting that you're going to be able to deliver what I'm actually looking for, is getting this thing. I have a presentation already set up.
I love that, dude. I love that. So what question can we answer? Because I want to make sure we get to these questions, guys. So thank you for the context. What question can we answer for you?
Well, my question is, I already spoke at Long Beach University a couple months ago. I have a presentation and just wanted to confirm, you guys look at what we have and make changes and suggestions to what we do have, right?
So what you get is you get a one-on-one coaching call around your signature talk.
Okay.
They help you kind of build it out or make it better. And then you're getting one round of feedback on a 3-minute talk. So it's not an ongoing thing. I want to be really clear, but people have paid $1,000 for that call before. So
Correct.
That's included. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's not like unlimited one-on-one. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Yeah. Okay. So I already scheduled that for tomorrow. So that's good then.
Yeah. So you're part of Stage to Scale then. Congrats, man. I love it. I love it. Walt, what about you, buddy?
Man, what's going on, fellas? How you guys doing? It's good to see your faces
man.
again. I just got to tell you guys, first of all, thank you both for discounting it down to $1,000, because that honestly did make a difference for me today. I left my corporate job April of a year and a half ago. I wrote a #1 best-selling book. I've helped a ton of people heal from trauma. I've gotten the opportunity, thank God, to get paid very handsomely for going to different stages and getting my travel paid for and making a career out of this. But the one missing piece, and I think what took me over the top today, was when you guys talked about the offering. That's the one thing I haven't created and I haven't put my focus on to continue to give back to people and serve them after I'm done giving the belief to them that their history doesn't define their legacy and where they started doesn't have to be where they finish in life. And so for you guys, like, as long as we execute, right, because that's on me, do you guys expect at the end of that 8-week time period, not only are we going to have the signature talk piece, I get that, but that offering should be refined as long as we're executing on the lessons learned in that part of the process?
Yeah, completely, dude. And Pat is one of the great, Pat, you can speak to this, but what we're not trying to have you do is have 3 products done in the 8 weeks. We're trying to have you your first or next product done and clear on the ones to follow. Because if you try to create 3 products in 8 weeks, it's just like most people cannot do that on their own. So we want to get one. Is that what you would say, Pat?
Yeah, if you have no products right now, and there's a number of people on this call who have no products, we're going to help you develop your first one so it'll be up for sale. If you have products, you want to look at the pyramid that Pete taught tonight and say, where's my gap? Is my gap the done for you? Is my gap the do it yourself? And then pick your next one, and we'll help you develop the next one.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Be blessed.
Walt, excited, bro. Julie, come on, girl. I remember you at Reach Live and us taking that picture, and so proud of all of your movement. What's your question tonight?
Hey, Pete. Hey, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's great to see you guys, and it's great to be back. So I was asking Rachel in direct message because it got real confusing. As alumni, we don't get to see the new program. We just see the old program.
No, you get the brand new one.
We do get the new one?
If you buy, Pete, if you buy.
Oh yeah, you do have to, yeah. So as alumni purchase, they're getting all of the brand new program.
Okay, because that's where it got confusing. And then this weekend on the Speak Off, that's virtual and that's different than what's in this package.
Great question.
And that's what I signed up for.
Yeah, no. Great question. So that's an internal only AYR Speak Off.
Okay.
And we're going to demonstrate this Saturday for everybody. We have another webinar tomorrow. We had one today. We have a couple today. So on Saturday, we're going to do a special training to follow this up. And some people signed up to be a part of the Speak Off. They just paid a little bit of money. That's for just an internal, this launch, Speak Off on Saturday, so people can see a demonstration of what it will then look like for the big, grand Speak Off this fall in 5 different cities. So you'll be a part of that, and everybody will get to be a part of either witnessing it, but the people who decided to take the nominal charge for that to be a part of Saturday, you'll be participants in it. And everybody else will be able to be spectators of it. And on Saturday, we'll nail down a winner. And we've got some special fun things that we're going to do for our top person and our top 3 people on Saturday, Julie.
Okay. But in order to see the new course, we do need to sign up today to get this special price.
Yeah, but remember, alumni will get a $400 credit in addition. All of our alumni will get a $400 credit. So not only the half off, which that's what normal alumni is. Alumni is normally half off, but the alumni will also get a $400 credit. So
sweet.
Yep. Thank you, Julie. So good to see you. All right, last 2 here. I see 3, but Jesse, how about you? Jesse. Okay, let's unmute Jesse.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Jesse. What's your question? We can hear you.
All right. The question is about, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for your kindness, you both and Pat, Pete. And the thing, I've got 3 questions on me. The questions that I have, the first question I have, it's about.
Well, I want to do one. You're gonna have to pick one because I don't want to do 3. So tell me your most important one because I want Jennifer to also get one. So.
Right. Okay. May you please help me the language that I can use when I'm trying to tell other people about you guys, because I'm very much aware about you and I'm not trying to procrastinate about the business to sign up, but it's just the thing that I'm doing one thing at a time. First of all, I'm dealing about with my daughter, the 16-year-old daughter. She's in school. I'm trying to finish up everything about the bills and everything. Then later on, I come back and sign up with you guys. But at the same time, I don't want to lose track. That's why I keep on following you so that wherever the stage you are, I mustn't lose focus. I mustn't lose you guys. I must know where exactly you are. So
okay.
that's why.
Yeah. So let me speak to that. Thank you, Jesse. So we don't publish like all the stages we're on because there are a lot of private events and paid events or high-end masterminds. But if you're wanting to send anybody to us, the best place to do that is advanceyourreach.com. Advanceyourreach.com. So that's where you should send everybody. Jennifer, how about you? So great to see you. Thank you for all of the energy. Like we said, we answer every question. Pat Quinn and I, we do that. So Jennifer, what's your question?
Thank you so much. It's actually like a dream to be here right now. But Pete, I really want to get involved and I really want to do this. I need this very, very super bad. But I have everything that I have, which is nothing, into my launch that goes on the 19th. Now you said, don't wait till then. So I have an idea of a mastermind that I thought I may be able to do, but it sounds like from something else you said, it may not be working either. But there was a judge recently that committed suicide and was in a tether here in my state and right in my area. I've went before her before. And I wanted to find out if you think that it would be a cool idea for me to try to get on board, for me to try to do a mastermind with these judges on the suicide and the alcoholism, because that's stuff that I do have personal experience with and that I already have a talk designed for. But I'm trying to figure out how I can get involved because I want this so bad. And, I'm sure that I'm not the only one that wants this and just cannot even do this right this minute or by the time your cart closes. So can you give me any cool advice or anything that, that can maybe help?
Yeah, no. So thank you. And thank you for the question. Yeah. I mean, you're for something like that to try to do a mastermind and go sell it, like that's probably not the best fit. Like you maybe holding a forum, some type of forum or some roundtable discussion or some dinner is going to be a lot wiser. And then you can gauge the interest in if people want to continue to have further conversations. And if they do, then you could create some membership or some mastermind around that. So that's what I would say. Listen, if you have a launch on the 19th, like, listen, if this is going to put you, I always say this, if this is going to put you in a position that hurts you financially, don't do it. If it's going to put you in a position that stretches you, then get out of your mind and do it, because you will not be able to on the 19th buy this for $997. Like, my word is my word. That's integrity. And so, like, what I would try to do is, if you're really committed, you'll figure out a way. Like, you're just going to search inside and you'll figure out a way. I can guarantee you that. So thank you for that. Hey, I feel like I don't see any more hands, Pat. It says it seems like there was a gentleman who had his hand raised for a long time, but I can't see any more hands. Can y'all pop up the participants? Where it shows participants and hands, like Miranda, what hands do we see? Or anybody? Pat, do you see?
I just see, there's Montes. I'm going to mess up that name.
Hey,
Mr. Rahman.
All right, we're going to do these last two,
Rahman.
not the third one that got answered. These two have been up. So I'm going to do the last two gentlemen here, and then we're going to call it a night. So go ahead.
There we go.
We can't hear you, bud.
Nope, still can't hear you. Do you have your microphone plugged in? Sometimes the microphone gets muted. You're not muted on Zoom.
All right, let's try Frank right now. Let's try Frank.
If you can't get your microphone working, just type the question in the chat. I'll answer the question right out of the chat if you want to type it in the chat.
Frank, how about you, buddy?
Hey, Frank, I've asked. Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah, can you?
Yep, we can hear you. Nope, now you muted again. Can you unmute there, Frank? There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
My question is, my passion is Christ, not Christianity. Are there stages available for something that is radical like this?
Yeah, I mean, there's radical stages for everything. I mean, that's all I would say without getting into any theology or anything. There's radical stages for everything. Like, Somebody sent me something and said, hey, I bet you can't find 10 stages in 10 minutes on yarning. I have a student that teaches people how to yarn or to be a really great yarner, and she wants to see if there's stages. And I found her hundreds of stages on yarning within 5 minutes, which sounds crazy. So there's stages for people with everything. Like, I know people who have different beliefs about faith and religion that don't align for me or don't connect with me. But I also love and respect them, and I see them getting on stages where there's other people who have that thought process. So yeah, there's definitely all types of stages, Frank, for sure. So thank you for your question. Let's go to M. Yes, let's go to MM because she has her hand up. Let's do that. And did he ask his question, Pat? Did the gentleman ask his question? He didn't. Yeah,
Just came in.
Okay, go ahead. All right, be direct with your question here because we're going to finish this up. You're muted.
You're still muted. Can you unmute on Zoom?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know how to put my picture up or anything. I'm very unexperienced with any of it. Quick question is, I've worked my whole life in church planting, pastor's wife, raised 5 children, been part of a church where I did everything from administration to writing programs, the whole thing. How do I take my experience that I never got paid for? How do I monetize it? I don't know how to do that. I don't know what parts to pull out of. I've had so much experience and I've worked so very hard my whole life, but never got paid.
Yeah. So Pat, I'm going to let you take this, but all I'm going to tell you is that's kind of a mentality of the church is that you're supposed, listen, I love Jesus with all my heart, my Lord and Savior. I was a youth pastor. He changed my life. But I also know that the church, the way that the world looks at money, I think is wrong. And I also think that the way that a lot of the church looks at money is wrong. Like it's just a wrong mindset. It just is. This is scarcity and this is an idol. And I believe it's a tool to change our world. So it not only allows me to change my world and my home, but it allows me to change my church's home. And, my wife and I were able to give away, we always had a goal to give away $100,000 a year. Last year, we gave away millions of dollars close to a couple $1 million to charities and to our church. We're able to do things and resource it. If you go look in the Gospels, one of the most powerful Gospels, and I shared this with Grant a couple of weeks ago in his studio because of the scarcity mindset of the church, not all of the church, but a lot of church. And over there, they're like, the love of money is the root of all evil. No, the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not the love of money. Because if you go look in Luke, I don't know if it's Luke 8 or Luke 4, but it actually talks about the women who funded Jesus's ministry to allow Jesus to have a ministry. Whether you believe in Jesus or Christianity, you don't have to. There's enough evidence to prove that he was a man that walked this earth. You don't have to believe what I believe. And he believed that he was on a mission, just like you believe you're on a mission. And it actually says these women funded, I'm paraphrasing, funded his ministry because of the fact of how he healed them. And for me, what that's saying is the more that we heal people with what the gift that is that we can give to them, the more that they're going to come into our world and want to be customers because of what we've done for them to help them solve a problem. And so I think it's quite profound and powerful that even his ministry had resources that were provided for him to go from town to town. But yet what you've done is you've lived in a world where everything has to be done for free. I remember going out to lunch with people of the church, and I had the mentality that they should pay for me because I was the pastor. I've flipped the script on that. I'm the one who pays almost every time, unless somebody beats me to the punch. So a big thing for you is going to be getting out of the mentality that you've been in. So Pat, sorry, I didn't know I was going to go that long on that. Pat, anything else you would add?
That's all right. I think there's a lot of people who've been doing something for other people for a long time, whether that's caregiving, whether that's talking them through problems, whether that's advising them on essential oils or helping them with their stress, that are now like, hey, I could actually get paid for this. There's other people who've been doing it professionally, working for a big corporation, who are like, I could do this on my own. Part of it is mindset that you're going to get paid for this now. Part of it is finding the right audience, but a lot of it is communicating it in a way that is effective, that makes people want to say, I'd be willing to pay you to help me solve that problem. You get clarity on the problem that you actually solve, and don't say you solve all problems. Get clarity on the problem that you solve and find the right audience. You are going to have an audience for it, and I think people are going to pay for it as well, which is very similar to Mostafa Sur's question, which is he has an online tutoring of math and manners for kids grades 4 through 9. And we actually coach a number of people who tutor kids in math and a number of people who teach kids manners. I don't know if anybody's ever put math and manners together, but we coach both of those. And it's the same thing. You have to find the right audience. Parents who want their kids to do well in math and are willing to pay someone to help them do better in math, or parents who want their kids to have better manners and are willing to pay to make that happen. And it's really a successful business if you can get the right parents. You can have the right product offering. You want to do online tutoring, which is a great way to do it because you're not limited geographically. It's not a local offer. It's an offer to anybody who wants their kids to do better in math, or anybody who wants their kids to have better manners. There are groups of parents that would pay for both of those. We just need to get you in front of those on the right stage with the right product. And really, Pete, that's really the theme of the night, is that everybody here has something that they're passionate about. And if we can find the right audience, put them in front of that audience with the right offer, and do it in a signature talk format that is compelling and makes people take action, not only will you create revenue, you're going to have an impact on the lives of lots of people.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna, Pat, thank you for hanging out. We did not plan to stay this long. And we're gonna start winding this down because I've got dinner upstairs with the fam and sisters coming in. So we stayed longer for our community tonight. It looks like there's probably a few spots left, guys. With this, I want to encourage you to go to Join Stage to Scale. If you're still here with us, like you're either in, or let's get off the fence and let's go. Like, let's stop the narratives and the stories that go on in your minds. They've been going on for way too long. I know this because the first event I stepped into, it was Brendan Burchard's event, and I paid like the lowest ticket that I could to get in. And when I got there, they told me that I would have, if I wanted to be a part of their speaker showcase that allowed me to go on the stage and get coached by 3 people, I was like, yeah, I'd love that, because I felt like if I could share my story at this event, that it would open up doors for me. But as soon as they told me it was $997 or $1,497, I'm like, you're crazy, because I had the scarcity mindset. Yeah, it would stretch me, but it wasn't going to break me, but it was going to stretch me. And I left, and I'm like, no way I'm doing that. And something inside of me knew it was the right thing to do. But I still use, like, I'm going to pray about this, or I'm going to think about this. But I knew inside it was the right thing to do. Alignment is very easy. Somebody said, I feel connected to this community. If you feel connected to this community and you're not in the program, you're not in alignment. You're not in integrity. If some reason you're like, I feel connected to this community, this program doesn't align for me, or it's not the right timing, and there's not a narrative being told of that, then yeah, that's great. I love that. But I knew that was going to take me to new heights and new levels. So I went back to the registration booth and I said, here's my credit card, reluctantly. I'll do that. And those 2 or 3 minutes on his stage on day 2 changed my life. It literally was the launching of Advance Your Reach's first event of 27 people. It's what launched Advance Your Reach. And today, you guys get to make that decision, not on a $2,000 program, but on a program that we've cut in half for the first time in 7 years. You get to step into that and not keep telling yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it in 6 months. I'll do it in a year. You cannot get time back. Let us help expedite the things. 8 short weeks, or for some of you, maybe it's a couple of short weeks because you work fast. That's what we get to do with you guys today. So I'm glad you stayed around. Go to joinstagetoscale.com, put in those codes. If for any reason the codes of Power 6 or Power 1 didn't work, you can count on my team taking care of you. And as they take care of you, leave us a raving review online or on Facebook or somewhere of how quickly my customer service is, because they're amazing and they will continue to be amazing through this journey in the program with you guys. So on behalf of Pat, myself, my entire team, Thank you, thank you, thank you, and hope to see you in the program. We'll see you soon.